just to know your background, are you all from the credit side? Amila, are you from the credit? But which bank?
No, sir. Actually, I am working at Treasury. I am studying only just for knowledge. Actually,
Okay, which bank?
Ceylon Bank.
Ceylon. Okay. Gayan, you're from which bank? And what's your area of work? Gayan, Gayan, are you there? Pamudi, Pamudi. Okay, right. Uh, fine, fine. From
So I'm
HEB.
from a
It,
at National Bank, working
yeah.
as a accounts opening and credits as well.
Okay. Okay. Fine. 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 Right. Okay, Pamudi, I got your message. Thank you. Who is there else? Butika? Butika?
Yeah, sir. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, can
I,
hear. Fine.
I'm working in commercial bank head office related to central system support department.
Central system support. Is it a back office type of a function?
Yeah, it is IT related, but
Ah, it is related.
uh, I am going forward for branch banking also for the
Right.
future.
Right. Okay. 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 Right. So till the others come, I will will move. How is your okay? Before that, how is your banking these days? Are there closed branches? Your respective departments are closed, or they are functioning? Yes. Yes. Can okay. Seems to be okay. Fine. Fine. Right. Now, banking, is it a business or a working from home? Pamadi says they are working from home. Okay, but there are a lot of restrictions when you start working from home. Why? The reason is where you don't be
We
able.
also working from home, sir.
Yeah. So when you come to customer service, it's a little bit tough to work from home. Right. Fine. Okay. Banking, is it a business or a profession? I'm expecting you to share your thoughts also. I don't just want to discuss theories, because finally theories you can extract from any book, but practice and the practical aspect is much more important than theories. So that's why I have included a lot of common sense type of business, because common sense is it's very important. Yes, banking, is it a business or a profession? Yes, Amila, what do you think? Banking, is it a business or a profession?
Actually, I both business, business as
No.
well as
Yeah,
profession.
I want one answer. It can't be both, it has to be one, whether it's a business or a profession. Gayan? Yes, Gayan. Banking, is it a business or a profession? Butika? Banking, is it a business or a profession?
Business.
Business, right? Gayan, any views? Pamudi, any idea about that? You are in a business or you are in a profession? Yes, I think it's a profession, right? Okay, it's a business. Simply, it's a business. But comparing it to other businesses, our business is a little bit different, right? But you have to you have to ensure that you conduct this business in a professional way, because finally, why I say it's a business, because finally we want the bottom line results, profits. All of us are expecting profits. We are not doing into charity, or we are not flexible in that aspect. So we have a lot of stakeholders expect return. So we are into a business, but comparing the other business, our business types are a little bit different, and we are the only professional business where we assist all type of people, from the birth to the up to the death. Birth, you have minor savings accounts, right? Then you have teenage accounts, you have youth accounts, you have business professional accounts for professional and so up to that level. Then you have the housing loan, you will have the marriage loan, you you have personal consumption loan, right? So you have business loans. Other than the debt, we are a group of people who support customers, not like other professions or other businesses. Other businesses, what happen? If you take the doctor, if you have some problem only, you will go to a doctor, right? And in case of a lawyer, if you have a problem only, you will go to a lawyer. But ours is different. If you have more money, still the customers will come for a deposit. If you don't have money, still you go for the bank to borrow, right? So we are a different group of people. Every day, customers they react, they work with us, not like other businesses or other professions. You want to buy sugar only, you will go to buy sugar. It may be monthly basis, but when you come to banking, sometimes there are daily customers. So our profession, so-called business, is more linked, connected with the people's life. So we are in a business, but we have to ensure we have to handle it in a professional way. Mohan, you're from which bank and what is your area of work? Mohan, you're from which bank and what is your area of work? Just to get an idea about your background. Are you from credit? Are you from which bank? Mohan is silent. Okay. Now, customer service is the number one. I have no argument to it. We can't argue on that aspect. We have to ensure that we give the maximum customer service, right? So that's the whole idea. That's why we are bankers are there. But you should not compromise the quality. If you're going to compromise your quality and if you're going to do banking, I don't think it's acceptable, because you need to understand your size of your organization, and based on the size of the organization, you have to deliver, because good name of your organization is important than your final bottom line results. Action should be in line with your bank size. If you're a big bank, you can't fail. If you're a small bank, you can't fail, but you have a little bit flexibility because you're small. But whatever, whether you are big or small, finally you have to ensure that you maintain your quality, right? When you're doing your business, need to follow the regular instructions, ethics, values, and common sense. Very simple. We are in a common sense business. We are in ethical business. Our business runs with values. We have a huge regulatory framework. Whether you like it or not, we have to work in line with the law. When you come to banks, we have so many defense lines. You have the first defense lines is the business. Second is the compliance and risk. Third, you get the audit. Fourth, internal audit. Fourth, you get the external audit. Fifth, you get the bank supervision department, right? Sometimes the last audit will be done by the board of directors. So there are a lot of audit controls, but unfortunately, in certain instances, bank fails. You see the global, there are a lot of bank failures, right? Maybe that they have not followed the rules, regulations, they have not respect the values, ethics, plus they have not used their common sense. Now, for bankers, common sense is very important. Without knowing your customer, without using your common sense, you can't survive in this banking business. So please make sure that you need to ensure common sense. Unfortunately, common sense is today uncommon. That is why majority of the problems are there around us. Maybe inside the organization, outside, country-wise, world-wise. People don't respect the common sense aspect. Instead of that, they try to do certain different things. If you want to raise any questions, please stop me and ask questions, right? Discussion is much more important than me highlighting my set of slides. Without my lectures, you can understand the slides. So if you have any clarity, any questions, please stop me and ask questions. Now, what is the message that you can get from this picture? Yeah. Amila, what is the message that you can get from this picture? Mohan, he left. Butika, what is the message that you can get from this? Gayan, what type of message that you can get from this clip? Yes, Amila?
We should adhere to regulatory
No. What is the
framework.
picture? What is the message you get from this picture? Interpret the picture. Forget about the banks. Don't relate it to the banks. Just interpret this picture. And so, what is that? Do not climb, play on, and around pipe.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
what's really happening there?
Yeah. Most of them doing that actually.
Yeah. So there is a clear instructions in red color to say
Don't do.
don't do,
Yeah.
but what they are doing is the same thing.
Yeah.
Just like a group of bankers. But still here, these are kids. We have to accept their behavior because they are kids. Now bankers are also the same. When you give a restriction from the regulator to say don't do these things, what normally the bankers they do, they say no, we have to give the best customer service. Unless if you are going to comply with that particular requirement, you will not be able to get customers. So that's the main idea in most of the cases, right? So bankers are behaving without following the regulatory requirements, without following the rules and regulations. So the concern, why? What is the reason? Does that mean that we don't want to respect the law, or are we more focused on customer service? Now, are you all happy with your customer service at your banks? Yes. Are you all happy personally?
Yes.
Happy, right. Now, if you go to a bank, are there any complaints from the customers to say that this is not there, that is not there, you are not giving this service and that service? Now, I will assume that you are a customer of a bank. You go to X bank, and what do you expect from them? Do you want to wait half an hour in the queue? Do you want to collect the checkbook where they will take half an hour? Yes. Are you ready for that?
No.
No, you're not ready for that. Now, within 5 minutes, can you give a checkbook to your customers? Pamudi, can you give a checkbook to a customer within 5 minutes?
No, sir, we can't.
You can't.
No, sir.
But when you go to a bank, if as a customer, what is your expectation? Do you want to wait for 10 minutes to collect the checkbook? Yes. Do you want to wait for 15 minutes to collect the checkbook? No. You expect to collect the checkbook in 5 minutes, but when you come to delivery, you can't deliver within that particular time. So your behavior as a customer, your behavior as a banker should be both the same. If you are expecting to get the checkbook within 5 minutes, when you go and sit as a banker, you should be able to give the checkbook within 5 minutes. In case if you are ready to wait for half an hour, then your service will be half an hour. So the point is where our expectations are very high as a banker, but when you come to delivery, our duties are very low. So that is one reason where today the banking sector is uncertain. We don't know what will happen, right? Luckily, we can survive because of the customers, and because the customers want loans, customers have excess money. There is no place for them to keep. They come and bring the money to us. So because of that, right now we can manage it. But if customers keep on defaulting, we will have a lot of problems. So the point is where we need to follow the country's law when you are doing our banking business. Now, this is a balance sheet of a bank, right? A rough one. To take the right side and left side indicates the assets, right side indicates the liabilities. Stated capital is the shareholders' money, 125. Deposit 700, that's the depositor's money. Debts and other borrowed funds, 100. Borrowing from the banks, 50. Others, 25,000. So your liabilities are 1,000. So all these your liabilities are taken from public. These are public funds. Stated capital, deposits, debt, borrowings, others, everything you have borrowed from public. It's not your money, it's not my money. Then we convert those liabilities into assets. Cash, 50. Other financial assets, 150. Loans, 700. Property plant, 50. Others, 50. Total, 1,000. So we bankers are a group of people where we collect money from the public and convert into assets, and we give among the customers. Now, if you see this example, all total deposits we have lent. So what happens if the loans are not servicing? If the loan creditors are not supplying their money on time, paying on time their installments, we will have a problem to pay our deposits. Now, this is the challenge what we have. We have to balance these two. That is one reason where banks always insist on securities. Banks will say we want a security, otherwise we can't give a loan. You want a loan, please bring securities. If you bring securities, okay, we can consider a loan. Top of that, there are so many other requirements to obtain a loan. Any questions up to now? Any clarity required from this particular slide? Mohan, I have not heard about from you. Mohan, you are from which bank and which department? Just to get an idea. I hope at least the bankers will talk. Now, when you come to other lecturing forums, sometimes students, they don't talk. But as matured students, hope that you will contribute. And there's a question. Are there any questions? Right. Then customer confidence. So the point is where now when you come to banking, we have to ensure we show public money. We take so many other public deposits. I told you, banking is the only group, only set of people where we borrow from customers' money and run the business. So if that is the case, we have to ensure 100% trust, since we are borrowing public money. Maintaining the trust is the biggest challenge what we see. Customer confidence is the key to sound banking system, nothing more than that. You see, all the banks are providing the same service in different way, right? All are giving the same service. There is no big difference between X bank service to Y bank service. When X bank starts a new product, Y bank will copy and add one or two features and say, okay, we are the first to introduce this product. So you need to ensure 100% trust, since you are in the banking sector, since you are borrowing from public money, and you need to ensure customer confidence. If you fail to bring customer confidence, your organization can't survive. Right. Any question? There are a few new who have joined right now. Suranga, you are from which bank, and what is your area of work? Suranga. Suranga. Sajivan, you're from which bank and what is your area? Sajivan. Why all these students are silent? Uchita. Uchita, you're from which bank and what is your area of study? Can you all hear me? Amila, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Can.
Okay. Uchita, you're from which bank and from which area? At least if you can chat me and send me. Sajivan, Uchita, Suranga, just to know from what's your background. It will be helpful for me to continue this session.
Sorry, sir. I'm Suranga.
Yes, Suranga. You're from which bank and what is your area?
So I'm from Commercial Credit and Finance PLC.
Okay.
I'm from Chila.
Chila, right. Fine. Thank you, Suranga.
Okay,
Right.
sir.
Okay. Right. Then comes to the next slide. Contractual relationship between bank and a customer. Now, what do you mean by a contractual relationship? What is a contract? Yes? What is a contract? Can someone tell me what is a contract? Can you give me a simple example for a contract? Simple example that you know every day that you are doing. Forget about your business. Don't bring examples from your bank. Yes? Pamudi, can you tell me anything, any business, any contract that you all are involved in day to day? Yes?
Contract is an agreement between parties.
Yeah, it's an agreement between two parties, right? To do or not to do certain things, right? You agree with another person to do or not to do certain things. Now, example for a contract, a simple example. Are there, but what, can you give me a simple, okay, then from a bank's point of view, banking example? Harshana, can you give me an example for a contract? Yes, Amila?
Yeah. Forward
Yeah.
rate booking.
Okay, forward rate booking. Right.
Mandate.
So opening an account, there are so many examples, right? If you are paying a check, that's also part of the
Yeah.
contract, right? So issuing a checkbook, issuing a pay order. So all these are, or giving a loan, all these are contracts. If you take a simple contract, your day-to-day activities. Now, if you're traveling in the bus, it's a contract. If you go to a shop and buy a cloth, it's a contract. You buy a loaf of bread, it's a contract. So those are simple contracts. So every day, all our majority of our transactions with the outsiders are contracts. Even within the family, you can have a contract, right? So contracts, we have to live with requirements for a contract. What are the requirements for a contract? One who knows requirements for a contract? Yes. Requirements for contract. Yes. Jessica, can you tell anything about requirements for a contract? When I ask a question, don't leave. Right? So they should she left. And more uh, talkative and of people is good. What are the requirements? Arshana, tell me anything that you know the requirements for a valid contract. I've done the banking law. No, no idea. Right. So there are basic set of requirements for valid contract. What is the intention? What you want to do? Point of the contract. That's the first thing that you have to do. So the intention is So if example, I say that I'm hungry, my intention, I will based on my action, my stomach says okay, I'm hungry, then they say go buy a bun. The intention is very clear. Yeah. Okay. Those who if your mics are not functioning, you can uh, that's okay. So then with the intention, I will say okay, I want to go to requirement intention. Uh, then I have to see uh, clear. I mean, my sound is not clear. I mean, my sounds are not clear.
Yes, sir. Not clear. Now interrupt.
Now just see. Okay.
Yeah, now okay.
Right. Okay. So you come contract, contract. But
Yes, sir.
I want this
Again, not clear, sir.
not there. Now, now okay.
Okay.
Can you all hear me? Now can you all hear me?
Can, sir, but not clear actually.
Not clear in the sense what type of noise you get. Is it a disturbing noise you get? Yes.
No, now okay. I think.
Now okay.
I can't wait properly.
Can you hear me now?
Can't wait properly.
Yes. Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Amila,
Now okay, sir.
your daughter is replying. No, Amila. Okay. Good. Right. So my example is where I am hungry. I want to buy a bun. So that's the triggering point. So my intention is clear. I want to go to a shop and buy a bun. With the intention, then I will see whether I can exercise this activity. Buying a bun from a shop is legal. So then I can, it's a matter of going to a shop. It's not a legal contract. And then I have to see whether I have the capacity, whether I can bun, whether I have the legal capacity to enter into a contract. Who are the people who can enter into a contract, valid contract? Capacity. Who has the capacity? What's the, as bankers, what is the age of capacity? Yes. Any idea?
Above 18 years old.
Above 18 years. Yes. If you are above 18, you can enter into a contract. So buying a bun is, even I can buy a bun, that's not restricted. So then I will go to, so the intention is there. I check whether it's legal. Then I check, I have the capacity. Then I decided, okay, I'm going to a restaurant. Then I will go to the restaurant and I will ask for a bun. So that is the offer. So based on my request, the restaurant owner decided to give me a bun. Then he accept my offer. Then he will say, okay, you take this bun, but you have to give 100 rupees. So that's the consideration. Then he will put the bun into a bag and give it to me. I have to pay 100 rupees. The transaction is done. So there are different requirements for you to complete a contract. So the bank customer relationship is also a contract. We have to ensure that we meet all requirements since it's a contract. And we can now money, you can't just give it to someone else without signing a contract. Now when you come to contract, there are what it is more, oral contract or written contract?
definitely it should be written contract.
Bankers argument, but in world of 99% of contracts are oral. 1% you get written contracts, but bankers almost 100% you have written contracts. You can't have oral contracts. So if I come to your bank and if I have 100 million verbally, you can't give 100 million verbally to me. You have to sign a contract. And you will say, okay, I want these documents. So I will off my camera. That may be one reason my words are breaking. So best thing what I can do is I can off my camera. And hope Harshana now it's okay. Yes, Harshana, now are you okay? Right, fine. So that's the best thing I can do. Right, Turanga. As bankers, we have to always, you can't give 100 million for my oral request. So they will documents and you will, unless you give the facility. So that's how it goes. But when you come to normal world, 99% of our contracts are oral contracts. Now, for an example, my example, I'm hungry, I want to buy a bun. So if you go and buy a bun, you have to fill a form and buy a bun. I don't think you will have to wait for hours. And if you want to come from a bus from Gego to your office, it will take hours, right? So practical problem is where you can't have all written contracts when you come to the day-to-day transactions. But for banking purposes, definitely you have to have a written contract. Why you prefer to have oral contract or a written contract? What do you prefer? Oral or written? What do you prefer to have, oral contracts or written contracts? Yes, Pamudi, what do you prefer? Oral or written?
Written contract.
What is the reason why you want to have written contracts? Why can't you give a loan orally to a customer for my request, 100 million? What is the reason? When you have a written contract, you get evidence, clear evidence. I have signed the document and I have agreed on points. So you get the correct, clear message. I have taken a loan because I have signed. So oral, it's a little bit difficult for you to prove whether I have taken the money. Because now, for an example, if you're crediting my account, yes, there is an entry. That is evidence. But if I'm going to say, give me 100 million over the counter, right? So then there is no proof to show you that you have given me 100 million because my signature, I'm going to give a forged signature. Yeah, written or oral, both contracts are valid. Even oral contracts are also valid. You can't say only written valid. Oral valid. You have more evidence in the court of law. If you have a written document, okay, I have that.
Sir, excuse me, sir. What are the contracts between customers and bankers in oral contract? What are the oral contracts?
No, we don't encourage oral contracts. We can't encourage because we are lending public money. So bankers always we have to have written contracts. Now, for an example, one particular instance what I have seen, there can be instances for good customers. Sometimes they might give a call and tell, okay, I want to stop this check or pay this check. There is only 100 rupees not available in the fund balance. So based on the oral request, you can do it, but still you will ask for a approval. You will say, okay, why can't you drop a mail? On your way, you give a piece of paper, right? So for bankers, you can't have oral contracts. But in day-to-day life, 99% of our contracts are written oral contracts, not written. Whatever the example, day-to-day activities. So, but bankers can't have oral, but you can do accommodate customers orally if they are good customers, if you know him well. Now, for an example, as I told you, he will say, okay, I have to check, but unfortunately, this 1,000 rupees, you know, so 1,000 rupees is considered as transaction. 1,000 rupees is nothing. So what you will do is, okay, you will pay that check, you will honor that check, considering the pay, but still you will ask me to drop a mail to say just okay, okay this check. Right? So from bankers' point of view, definitely bankers can't enter into oral contracts. Bankers always must enter into written contracts. Why? The reason you are giving public money, it's not your money. If you are giving your money, if you are giving public money, you have to ensure that you enter into a written contract. Okay, any questions from that? Any questions?
Sir, some banks are enhancing some customers' credit card limits through call or small message. How of the legal validity?
Yeah, so the SMSs normally considered as a written valid evidence. That was now around 10 years back. The Commercial High Court, they accepted SMS as a written evidence, right? So the point is where now maybe that you're giving me a call and you're asking, okay, is it okay based on your usage? We see that you want a better credit limit. So is it okay if my credit limit is 1 million? So you are requesting, you are getting my consent to say, okay, is it okay to increase it to 1.5 million? So you are giving me the call and asking. So I will text you to say, okay, fine, you increase it to 1.5 million. So definitely they will have to maintain a log for that, my consent. And after you increase your limit, you will inform me. At your request, we have increased your limit from 1 million to 1.5 million. So at that time, if I'm not going to accept it, I must inform you, look here, I don't want this facility because I never wanted or I never intended at that time. So you're allowing the customer, you have to inform the customer that we have at your request or per this telephone discussion, we have increased your limit from 1 to 1.5 million. That has to be there. Otherwise, there can be instances. Now the point is where if you don't have a written contract, it will be a little bit difficult for you to prove at my request you have done it. Now here what happens, you are requesting me, is it okay to enhance? Because you see my usage is good, I'm a loyal customer. So you want to simply put me onto deep trouble now. Earlier I was managing with 1 million, now we are going to give me 1.5 million. Then if I can't manage my credit card, then I'll be further liable for you. So that's sending a SMS is fine because we consider it as a written evidence, but you have to have a record of that. On a later date, if you go and inform, if I'm going to say without my request, you all have given a credit card limit, then sometimes it will be a little bit difficult for you to prove whether this is best with my consent or not. So that is the challenge what we see. Okay. Anything else? Any questions? Yes. Any questions? Right. Now, what is KYC? Is it something important, KYC? Yes. KYC, is it important? Pamudi, KYC, is it important thing? Yes. KYC, what is KYC stand for?
Know your customer.
Know your customer, right? So do you all know your customers? Do you all know your customers? Gayan?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
So many customers we know.
Yeah.
If don't we are filling the KYC forms as well, sir.
Yeah. Then okay, Prashthi, now form is there, I know, but my concern is, do you all know the customer? Now the intention by this KYC forms bankers then bank into contracts with knowing the customers. And other way, bankers they accept this, take the KYC. They don't know what's the KYC. KYC form KYC form Pamudi, do you know everything what is there in the KYC? Have you read the KYC form? Yes. So the KYC is there, but you don't know it. Yes.
So mainly there are 4 things. Why opening an account if it's account? Why opening and what are the sources? Third one is what is the range? If 100,000, 500,000, and there are slabs have to pick. And another one is the how to prove your address. Something.
Okay, you're talking about the risk categorization. So all customers, all banks must categorize their customers based on their income, based on their the method of receiving their income. You're talking about the risk. So basic informations are there. Your name, address, your employment, as you said. Okay, is your profile. What is your income, right? What is the income source? What's your profession, to just to understand your income. Now, for an example, if a driver is going to say his monthly income is 1 million, then there is something problem with which driver. Is it a bus driver or a 3-wheel driver or a plane driver? There is some wrong. So they take this case because when the auditors come, have the to recommend in your audit say the KYC of this customer is not there. That's the whole idea. Not to understand. Now, those days, we got the information. We knew the customers, right? We knew the customers, but there was no KYC from those. Nowadays you have the form, but still you are expecting you to know each and every customer. At least you should know the customers whom you have been. Because you have given the public money, right? I'm not talking about all customers. It's not practically, it's not possible. Today you have a lot of customers, but still the idea is that not to know A to Z, but you should understand risk. Finally, you're recognizing the customer's risk, and you're giving a loan which you have borrowed from the. So unless you balance these two, it will be a problem for you all as well. Okay, so KYC is important. KYC is the most important document. So when you come to documentation, but my argument is where KYC is much more important than stuff any of the points. Okay, KYC is an operational requirement or a marketing requirement. For me, it's a marketing requirement. Operationally, you take as a basic information, as a registration to open an account, to maintain an account. But for me, it's a marketing requirement. If you know as a banker behavior of the customer, his background, it will be easy for you to cross-sell your products. It's a marketing tool, right? So you have to ensure that you take the maximum out of this KYC form, not just fill it and put it into a job and keep it. So based on my income, based on my behavior, right? While studying my behavior, credit card payment, you can offer a lot of products to me. If I'm going to say I'm a professional, can offer a professional package for me. So here, what I see is you have to understand it. You have to consider it as a marketing tool, not as an operational requirement. Why proper updated KYC is important for banker-customer relationship? So argument is the same. If you know me well, updated, you have the KYC form, but most of the old KYC. Sometimes I have opened my account in 2000, still you have the same form, the same information. Now, how many of you are using the same phone number from day one to today? Have you all changed your phone numbers? Yes. Have you all changed your phone numbers? Is it the same phone number? Amila, you are using the same phone number?
No, one-time change actually.
Yes, so one-time change. So if you have given the previous phone number to your employer, I think your KYC is incomplete at the bank itself. Gayan,
Yeah.
how many phones that you have changed? Utika says no change from 2002, right? So, okay, you have not changed, but your material status would have changed. Maybe that you are married today or not married, single, right? So the point is that KYC is an ongoing process and it has to be updated. If you have given the KYC in 2000 or 2005 or 2010, even 2015, it's outdated. So it has to be up-to-date KYC for the customer, for the bank to assess and analyze what type of customers you have. Maybe that I started as a normal teller, but today I'm at a different position. So your KYC says I'm a teller, but whereas today I'm a manager. So based on my KYC, you should be able to offer me something more than a teller, but you are not using it. So KYC for me, it's a marketing tool, not a operational requirement or not audit concerns. Lending and NPLs. Now, before that, I just want to show you a few diagrams. Banking sector loans and advances. What has happened here? Your loans and advances, are they increasing or coming down? Yeah. Advances and loans, are they coming up or increasing these days? Do you have freely available customers to lend? Yes, Amil?
No, actually decreasing, I think.
Decreasing. So this is 2019 figures, right? So it's decreasing, it's coming down. Even the part of 2019 without COVID loan, it was coming down. Now what has happened? Your rescheduled loans. Increase your loans to give the benefit. Now today we have a lot of more benefit offered by now rescheduled increasing. Now what happens, for example, if you have reschedulments, those 100 billion customers, 100 billion customers are going to default, what will happen? They will be NPL. So there's a huge challenge among the banking sector today because of this COVID and the latter part of 2019. This is 2019. I have not captured to 2020. Now the figures have gone up like nothing. This is NPL. Latter part of 2019. Starting from 2.5, the market rates, it has gone up to 4.9. Now today around 10. Market maybe around 6, 7, 8. So because of this COVID, now most of the businesses are not functioning. So there's a huge challenge among the banking sector. So we have to be careful on lending to customers. And top of that, almost all the big banks, that banks, big banks are having a lot of bit money. That is one reason where they are on down. There is no market. It's pricing will go on down. Market demand. There are supply, but no one is getting loan. No one is want to start businesses. So there is a huge gap between your money, what is available, and your lending. lending are coming down, NPAs are increasing, residuals are increasing. So what is the message that you can get from that? Is it a good type of a market we are into? If hope that will not happen, if 100% all customers or borrowers, if they are not going to pay, what will happen to us? We will have a lot of problems. Central bank will not be able to help us because all deposits, right? What we have deposits, all deposits of each and every individual. Maybe then for an example, if you have 10 million in banks, different banks, central bank, we say X bank, you have 10 million deposit. If X bank is going to crash, central bank will give only 600,000. That is the insurance cover. You will not get 10 million. Central bank will not be able to pay 10 million. If you have another 10 million at Y bank insurance will cover this. It's not only for the finance sector, even for the banks or for the customer, the central bank is only 600,000. So that is why the trust is important. Is why to ensure the stability of the banking sector, and we have, as bankers, we have a huge responsibility towards that. We can just do what we want. Okay. Any questions? So the figures are now increasing more than this. Compare these are 2019 figures. Right.
Sir,
Yes.
central bank is giving 600,000 for only systematic important banks customers or others as well.
It no, but I know is for all the banks and finance companies. If you because that is why that is why they get the insurance cover. They maintain a requirement. So
600,000.
each deposit, each customer is 600,000.
Okay, sir.
Nothing more than that, right? Maybe that I can't see any disturbance from my end. Maybe sometimes I get there is voice is not clear. Maybe that your connections are not so strong. That may be one reason. Gayan, can you hear me well? Clear?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, right. So just check your connections also. That since I'm not using my camera, normally I used to use the camera and I'm using camera, so it clearly says that my connection, I am using a dongle as the connect actually. So definitely my connection now should be okay. Earlier it was I was using a fan, I off fan as well. Maybe there was some disturbance because of that. Right. Any other questions? I prefer to have some questions from you. And says, okay, right. Any questions? Any other questions? Right. Now, reasons for high NPS and the responsibility. Now, there are certain reasons why this high NPS. Now, the first one, market economic conditions. Now, today, what has happened? Markets are not functioning well because of COVID. Businesses have dropped, right? And customers, they are not depositing their money because they don't get a good return. Banks are not giving return rates. Banks can't lend. Businesses are not starting their businesses they don't want to start because of the uncertainty, because we don't know tomorrow which business is going to crash, right? So one main reason would be economic conditions. I will be taking each and every one. I will briefly give an idea of it, and I will inadequacy of regulatory support. Such regulators support is not adequate. Now there is government is putting the banks to give moratorium plus the interest waive off. I don't know up to how many months. So if you're going to waive off your interest from the loans, moratorium loans, there will be huge cost for banks. will not be able to have high profits at the end of the year or as expected, right? So those are challenging things. So this regulators also must understand we are doing a business. The stability of the banking sector will what is required for the economy, and the regulator should not. They have to be ensure that the stability of the banking sector. Um, Maybe the politicians may want certain requirements. We have to be a little bit careful on that. If the bank sector is going to crash, entire country will crash. So giving a moratorium is fine, because if you can't pay, then what are we going to do? Are we going to post NPL and take legal action? It's waste of money. But still, you have to consider you have to look from the business point of view, continuation of the business, right? At least 100% waive off, I don't agree. Maybe a percentage, 25% waive off is acceptable for banks, because we are depending on the interest portion from the customer. So the customers also must understand they have to also work towards how to overcoming their job. Now, there are certain people, they don't want to change their attitudes. No, COVID is not functioning. Because of COVID, we can't do business. So there are a lot of businesses, new opportunities are there. As bankers, we have to understand there are a lot of opportunities over because of this COVID. So the customers, they have to look for new avenues rather than staying inside the box and say, okay, we don't know what to do. Okay, then banks have failed in their responsibilities. As banks, all the banks have failed in their responsibilities because in certain instances, they have gone behind numbers. So whatever said and done at the end of the year, we will have to achieve certain numbers. So when you go behind numbers, what will happen? Sometimes you will lose quality, and without your knowledge, the organization collapse. There were a lot of corporate governance collapses in the past. Lehman Brothers, WorldCom, and Enron, Toshiba, and there was a Wells Fargo. That's the fourth largest bank in US. Next session, I will try to show the video clip of that. You will get an idea how people, when they are driven towards numbers, sometimes they will misuse people's money, and as a result, the organization will crash or there'll be illegal or unethical, right? Then incomplete security documentation. Are you all happy with your documentation? Are you all happy with your documentation of your banks? Yes? Those who are from the credit, at least text and tell me, are you all happy with your documentation? Yes or no? Yes. Harshana, are you all happy with your documentation? Yes. Suranga says yes. Now, you have documents, but when you put those into a court of law, sometimes you will not be able to win the case. So what is the purpose of having a set of documents if you can't win the case? For me, 99% of the bank's documents are incomplete. I will show you some examples, then you will realize what type of mistakes that we do as bankers. We are doing a lot of mistakes, right? We are doing a lot of mistakes. And we can't use the documents we of law and so there are instances where incomplete documents, 99% of our documents are incomplete. That because of that we can't go use the correct procedure, the way of working, wrong procedure by the bank for recovery. So there are shortcut methods. As bankers, there are a lot of shortcut methods that you can recover the outstanding, but we can't do that because we don't know how to do it or our documents are not complete. Practical issues in securities. Realizing selling the assets is a difficult issue. Sometimes you get the forged documents, right? Sometimes there is a market demand is not there. Sometimes you have given a loan based on the wrong documents. So there are so many reasons in certain instances where you will not be able to get the maximum. The customers will not be able to pay, or you will not be able to recover. So these are basically reasons why the high reasons for high end. So categories are the responsibility for market and economic conditions, the government, in negative regulator, documentation are responsible, selective banks are responsible, practical issues in the securities, up to a certain extent banks and the environment. So we are living in this kind of a system. So top of that, we are lending public money. Therefore, we have to be very careful when you are lending public money. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Right. So when you come to market and economic conditions, its impact, you see the lendings are going down. Rescheduled loans are increasing, and non-performing percentages are increasing. So that's a market impact. Plus the COVID-19. Because of the COVID-19, majority of the businesses are not functioning well. As a result, we are having today a lot of problems of lending as well as borrowing. Okay. Any questions? Right. So when you assess this inadequacy of regulatory support, non-availability of calibrated rating information for customers, initiatives from the regulators are required. Now, what is this calibrative rating information for customers? You have to have a platform regulated by the regulator for each and every customer. Now, for an example, if I go to commercial bank, my rating based on whatever the information that I'm going to give it to commercial bank, or based on their transactions that I'm going to perform with commercial bank. If I go to HNB, and if I give my details based on the transactions and my profile, they will have another risk rating. So commercial is having low risk, HNB is having high risk, medium risk. If I go to Ceylon Bank and give my do some transaction, they will say I'm a high risk person. So how can you have 3 different risk ratings for one individual? Simply you can't have it. So the regulator must give us a platform to all the banks to include my data. There has to be a common risk for each and every customer across the banking sector. So whether I'm going to go to HNB, commercial, or Ceylon, or Sampath, I will have unrestricted. So then it's going to be very easy for you to handle me because I'm a high risk or medium or high risk. Then you know as soon as I go, okay, I'm a high risk customer, then you have to take all precautionary actions. But the issue is as unique platform. And as a result, each and every bank will have different risk rating for each and every customer. So this is a problem. Non-availability of national database and forecast on macroeconomic. So there is no database. You can't now, for an simple example, high risk customers, they have to have a database. Now, sorry. Politically exposed people. Now there are different you get high risk customers, all political people, right? All money launderers, different countries, they will have different customer databases on high risk customers. Now in Sri Lankan context, we don't have a standard one. Instead of that, we have to prepare each and every bank. We have to prepare high risk customers. If the regulator can support by all political people, all money launderers, international, locally, like, why can't they prepare, introduce database? If you have a banking now today, we all different compliance and they have different compliance system. Matter of to link with that and get the information from those platforms. Now X is a high risk customer. If the central bank or the regulator can say, okay, X is a high customer, is a money launderer. So then it's there in the database. It's just like I'm talking about a platform like Crypt. So now this X is coming to our bank. We should be able to go to the platform and see what type of a person. Exactly, a platform like Crypt should come from the regulator. Then if X is coming to our bank, we can check from the platform to say what type of customer he is. Otherwise, we have to rely on his information or the KYC form, and we decide, okay, whether he is a high risk customer or low risk customer. So which is not accurate. Digitalization of NICs. There are certifications. Sometimes you will have 2 passports, 3 passports and 3 NICs, right? Individuals are there with 2 passports, two NICs, 2 driving license, right? So you have to have a uniqueness on this, and so that you have to digitalize this NIC process. Digitalization is not just automating. Automation is digitalization, right? System and issuing through a system is not digitalization. It's a far beyond more than that, right? So you have to have a digitalization. When you go to any place, they have to have a system. It may be for the police station, it may be for the courts, it may be for a bank, it may be for taxi. As soon as you type your NIC number, the system must say, okay, this is so and so. His assets are this, his liabilities are this. He is a high risk customer. He is a official. So all this information should be included into a platform. So I don't know why these processors, the so-called the authorities, are not taking appropriate action to introduce this platform, right? So that's a non-available financial statement which will not reflect the actual financial position of the customer. All of the companies prepare financial statement to meet the tax authority requirements. So financial reporting requirement statements are important. Some companies, they don't prepare these financial statements. Sometimes they prepare it because they want to meet the audit requirements. Statements as well as management accounts, financial accounts. Here we are talking about the financial accounts. Account for you to decide we are going to manage your business. Financial accounts are there for the shareholders to understand their return at the end of the year and whether it's a profit or a loss. So this is the challenge we see, the inadequacies of regulatory support. We need to get the support from the regulator to implement these processes. If so, only we can say the regulator has done his role. Questions? How many normally are there in this group? Right now only 9 are there, including me. Others, they don't know the class today. Is that correct? Yes. What I heard was around 60. Now, if there are 60 students and just only 9 have participated, it's not acceptable at all. Okay, any questions? Yes, are there any questions? No. Right. Okay, then Yes, right. Then continuing, ease of doing business 2017 report, Sri Lanka was appointed at 111th position. So we had the 111th position, right? Time required to enforce a contract, 1,318 days, 3.6 years. Enforce a contract. Procedure to enforce a contract, Sri Lankan ranking 40th position. Cost to enforce a contract, a percentage of the claim, 23%. So remember this kind of things, whether customers will come to our country, customers will come to our country. There are a lot of issues. So we thought, okay, war is the biggest issue, and investors are not coming because of the war. Now the war is not there. Unfortunately, still the investors are not coming because of the concerns, practical issues what we see. Now, do you all know what is good governance? Governance? Yes. Can you say what is good governance? What is governance? Amila, what is governance? Utika, what is governance? What is governance?
The way of control the public.
Yes, running the business. We are running the government, we are running the business. Now, in 2015, political field, people wanted good governance. I will ask you a question, but I don't want the answer. Are you all happy with that? I don't want the answers. So some might say they're happy, some might say no, we are not happy. Some might say no, it's 50. So on expectations. If you're like high, you say there's nothing. If expectations low, you might say there was, so freedom of expression was there. Okay, then information, published documents, act was introduced. So many reasons would be there. For me, there was no governance during that period. Why I say that? Just merely changing one individual, you can't bring governance. You have to change the entire system. Entire system remains the same. Why you are changing one political person to change the governance? You can't do it, right? So it's not practical. So what is more important, rather than putting the responsibility to one individual, all of us must ensure that we have to change the processes, right? So if all of us are changing the process, only you can change the governance of a system. So nothing favor or against any particular. I'm talking the reality. Just merely changing one person, you can't bring governance to a system. If you want to bring governance to a system, you have to change the entire system. If you change the entire system, including you and me, we can bring governance. So don't expect one individual to change the governance because it's not practical. Right. Since there are no questions, we'll move to the next one. Banks have failed in responsibilities. Definitely the banks have failed in their responsibilities. No argument that. It is required for banks to study the behavioral patterns of the customers to take appropriate action prior to moving that. That's KYC. So for me, rather than obtaining documentation, what is more important, the KYC of a customer. If you know the KYC, I think it's very easy for you to handle everything or customer dealings. If you don't know the customer, then you will have problems. Banks must have robust internal credit rating models, a good system, which covers real customer information, macroeconomic conditions, which affect the customers. This could help the bank to understand the customer's behaviors at an early stage and take appropriate. So, customers' behavior. you can understand the customer behavior, only you can take act of protection. Forget about COVID. COVID is something exceptional. No one expected big time companies today crashing because of COVID. But forget about COVID, and because COVID will not be there for a long period. Long period in sense, at least it will be there for another year. One and a half years. But above that, still we have a solid systems to ensure a robust credit rating model. If you have a model where you can understand your customer, yes, we can run this business. Watch listing processes is not effective in the banks. Watch listing process is not effective. Bank to bank, they will have different processes, but effectiveness is a question. Performance-based targets. Now this year, are you all happy with these performance-based rewards? Giving bonuses based on your performance? Gayan, are you all happy with that? Amila? Yes? Amudi, are you all happy with this performance-based reward? Sulanga, Uddika, Uchita, are you all happy? Yes? Any thoughts on that? Silence shows that you all are not. Either you all are not happy or you all are happy. If you are getting your bonus, definitely you will be happy. But if you are not getting the bonus, you will might say you are not happy. But the point is where if you are going to recognize individuals from a system, I don't agree with that. It's not an effective system. But if you have a system where you recognize a group or the entire team, I think that is effective. So what we have to do is performance based. If you are going to, for me, it's a killer. We are recognizing, we are talking the team and we are recognizing individual. That should not be the case. If you are talking the team, you have to recognize the team. If you recognize the team only, you will be able to get the business of the bank as well. So it's not fair for a bank to recognize individuals. Maybe that there are high flyers who are doing well, but that doesn't mean that your measurement is right. Okay, right. Then types of customers, business entities, and other, they are liabilities for borrowing. So we have to see who is responsible for collapse of a company. Now these are the types of customers, but you all know: individuals, joint account holders, sole proprietors, partnerships, companies. So you might have other types of different accounts. For discussion purpose, we will be focusing only on these 5 types of customers. Now, if an individual is going to borrow, if he can't pay, who is liable? I'm taking a loan from you, your bank. I can't pay. Finally, who is responsible to pay? Yes. Who is responsible in case of a personal loan? Individual or joint? Who is responsible? Yes. Who is responsible? Yes, Amila. Who is responsible? I'm taking a loan, or I'm taking a loan with my spouse from your bank. Now today, because of COVID, my business have collapsed. I can't pay. Who is responsible? Anyone from the credit side? Buddhika, who is responsible? Who is responsible to pay? Yes. Suranga, who is responsible? Yes, Buddhika?
Borrower is responsible.
Yeah, borrower is responsible. I'm responsible, right? Maybe that I have problems, but still I have taken the loan or the second one, joint account holder with my spouse. We are responsible. Now we'll take this sole proprietorship, partnerships, and companies. These are 3 business entities, common business entities, what we see. For sole proprietorship, we'll take assets and liabilities. Now these sole proprietorship partnerships and companies have decided to close down their business. So a company, when the company is doing well, they can close down. If the company is doing bad also, they can close down the business. So we'll say the sole proprietorship having 10 million assets, 10 million liabilities, no problem. They can pay all the liabilities, and out of the assets, they can settle it. No problem at all. So there is no issue at all. Second scenario, assets 10 million, liabilities 5 million. Now, there is excess of 5 million, who is entitled for this 5 million? Who can enjoy that 5 million in case of sole proprietorship? What is the sole proprietorship? Single person running a business. That's a sole proprietorship, right? Now, the second scenario, 10 million assets and 5 million liabilities. Who is entitled for that 5 million? Yes, Bhutika? Who is entitled for that 5 million? Any idea from the others? Who is it? Yes?
Business owner.
Yeah, the sole proprietor, he can enjoy that money. No problem, because he's finally sole proprietor is the business. Now, third scenario, he is having 5 million assets, 10 million liabilities. Who has to pay the balance 5 million? Who has to pay? Balance 5 million. Yes? Who is liable for that 5 million?
It is also proprietor.
Sole proprietor, because he is personally liable for the debts of the business. So any excess or any shortfall, it is the sole proprietor who has to pay or get that money. Now, when you come to partnership, 10 million, 10 million, no problem. 10 million, 5 million, who can enjoy this excess money? Partners. 5 million liabilities, 10 million assets. Sorry, 5 million, 10 million liabilities. 5 million partners, since their liability is joint and several. Now, so partnerships, both similar type of structure is there. Any liabilities, partners. Any liabilities, sole proprietor. Now, the third scenario, companies. Company asset 10 million, liabilities 10 million, no problem. They can sell all the assets and settle the liabilities. Assets 10 million, 5 million liabilities. Who can enjoy the excess money? 5 million. Yes, Buddhika, who can enjoy this 5 million excess money? In case of a company?
Director.
Not the directors, it's the shareholders, because shareholders are the owners of the company. Yes, shareholders. Yes, Buddhika. Now, assets 5 million, liabilities 10 million. Who has to pay this 5 million? Who has to pay the 5 million? Assets, you have 5 million assets. You have 10 million liabilities of that particular company. Who has to pay that 5 million?
The company.
Company's maximum assets 5 million. Company can't pay anything more than that. That's the maximum they have. So, company is an artificial name board. All your companies are name boards. Without the stakeholders, your companies can't survive. Right? So, who has to bear that? The third scenario. Assets 5 million, liabilities 10 million. Who has to bear that? Yes? Who has to bear that? Any guesses? Yes, Buddhika?
Directors?
No, directors are not personally liable. Not the directors. Not the company. Any further guesses? Yes? Any further guesses?
සාමාන්‍ය කොටස් හිමියෝ කියන එක නේද?
Shareholders නෑ. කොටස් හිමියෝ නෙමෙයි. කොටස් හිමියන්ගේ liability එක limited liability. Your liability as a shareholder is limited to the amount that you have invested. ඔයාට මගේ company එක crash වුණොත් ඔයා 10,000 නම් shares අරන් තියෙන්නේ. ඔයාට 10,000ට සල්ලි හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් liable for this loans. මගේ loans මගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒක වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි. කවුද එතකොට liable? directorsලත් නෙමෙයි, shareholdersලත් නෙමෙයි, company එකත් නෙමෙයි, company එකට assets නැහැ. එහෙනම් කවුද? Yes. කවුද එහෙනම් ඉන්නේ? කවුද ඒක ගන්න වෙන්නේ? අමුදි? ඉස්බුතික? කවුද?
Insurance.
No. Insurance? No. Insurance ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ loans ඔක්කොම insure කරලා තියෙනවා. If a customer is going to default, can you go to the insurance company and reclaim? Insurance cover project තියෙනවා. නමුත් හැම ඔක්කොම බැංකුවකම insure කරන loans කරන්න බෑ ඒගොල්ලෝ. ලොකු ප්‍රීමියම් එකක් ගෙවන්න වෙනවා. කවුද එතකොට? If you have lent that to that particular customer, you have to bear the loss. So that is why as bankers, we have to be very careful with companies. If the company can't pay, company doesn't have asset, directors, if something goes wrong, you are your books. If you lend to a company without having a proper understanding. So this is the biggest challenge that I see in this system. Right? Okay. Any questions?
Isn't directors personal liable? No.
No, directors are not personally liable unless you have taken a personal guarantee from them. Yeah, they are not personally liable. You can't make them personally liable because if a director gives a personal guarantee only, you can make them liable. Otherwise, you can't make them liable. Okay? Right. So we'll have a break and we'll continue. Now the time is 2:41 for 2:40. Coming 20 minutes time. Okay. So be here by 3. I will continue. Make sure that you rejoin. Unfortunately, numbers are low, but make sure that at least numbers are fine. Whatever they are, I will teach. Rejoin at 3 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon to you all. Are there any questions from the previous session? Kalhari, your mic is on. Are there any questions? Amida, Suranga, Utika, are there any questions?
No, sir.
Right, okay. Now, when you come to practical issues of documentation, now documentation, is it a must to have documents? What's your view? Is it a must to, when you come to the secret documentation, is it a must to have documents? Can you see and hear, see the slides as well? Hear and hear me? Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, okay. Now, documentation, is it a must? Is it a must to have documents? Yes, is it a must to have documents, secret documents?
Yes.
Okay. For me, it's not, it's a waste of time. For me, it's a waste of time. We'll see why. Now, important points to note when lending: safety, suitability, and profitability. Right? You have to have the safety to ensure whether the customers are going to repay you. That's the biggest challenge. If the customers are not going to repay you, then you will have a lot of problems. So first, most important thing, the safety. On a careful analysis of the loan application, it must appear to be safe. So if you are going to lend for people who are going to pay you, then you are in trouble. If you are going to lend for the hotel sector, where the hotel, that particular hotel is 100% depending on tourists, then you are in trouble. So the safety, you always must ensure that you can recover that loan. Repayment should be there. There should be a consistency of the repayment. If the consistency is not there, then you will have problems. Suitability. The purpose of the loan must be legal and desirable from the standpoint of the economy. Whether this is a suitable loan at this moment. Now, if today, if you're going to lend for a hotel sector facility, it's not a suitable facility because today the hotels are not funding, right? So it's not a suitable facility. So ensure that suitability is another important factor that you have to consider. Profitability. Bank should not grant facilities which do not produce a profit to it. So I told you at the beginning of business. So we have to ensure profits. If you're not getting a profit, I don't think that you should proceed with that particular facility. So in any facility that is giving a profit, yes, but you have to focus. Profit is not the only case. Profit is just another measurement for you to consider facility, but what is more important, safety and suitability. So today, due to the moratorium, you don't get the profits because the interest or the capital is not paid. But if you have given to a safe business and a suitable business, still you don't have to worry. When the things are under control, you will get the profits. Today, we have a restriction on getting profits or recovering from the customers. That is something that you all have to understand. Okay. So these are basic concepts that we have to consider when you are giving a facility to a customer. Safety, suitability, profitability. Now, documentation. Why securities lending? Now, different arguments are now, okay. We will simply say we have to get documents because if the customer is going to default, we have to have these documents with us to take action against them. That's the whole idea. Or sometimes you might say, because the regulators are asking documents, therefore we have to take documents. So my view will be different. If you know the customer, if your KYC is strong with the customer, even without a document, you can give them a facility because you know him. You know that he will not let you down. Without knowing, if you're going to give a facility to a customer with documents, still you will not be able to recover. Agreement or piece of paper, all what you take as documents, piece of papers. Now from me, all these piece of papers are no use. You sign an agreement, you sign a mortgage bond. For me, no use. Why I say no use? Because those are just piece of papers. I will sign whatever you want. Then I am going to inform you can't pay. So I'm going to do with take me to courts and inform that I'm not paid. I will admit I'm not paid because my business is not functioning well. Then the court might ask whether they can give me a personal assets. I'm going to inform no, I don't have assets. Simply I'm bankrupt. Now if I'm bankrupt, can you recover from me? Yes. If I'm bankrupt, Gayan, if I'm bankrupt, පුළුවන් සතයක් හරි ගුල්ලොත් පුළුවන්ද? Amila, can you recover anything from me if I'm bankrupt? Bankrupt means I don't have assets.
No, you can't. No.
No, you can't. Simply you can't. So then what is the purpose of having a lot of agreements, taking all these agreements? Just to show that you can take me to courts, that's it. You put me into the jail. No, you can't put me into the jail because this is a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense. If it's a criminal offense, yes. But for civil offenses, you can't do that. So understand this piece of papers, what you take, you type, you spend a lot of time, you take documents. But since most of the documents are incomplete, even you go to courts, you will not be able to successful. Even you get the victory or judgment in favor, still you will not be able to take action against me because I'm going to simply inform the courts I don't have money. So this is the challenge. Even under sole proprietorship and partnership, you all told that the sole proprietor is liable. Now if you take this slide, first two sole proprietor and partners, they are liable. Now what happens if the sole proprietor say I'm bankrupt? If the partner says I'm bankrupt, partner say we are bankrupt, can you recover anything from him? No, you can't recover anything from them. So you will have to write off those liabilities from the books. So it's going to be a loss for you. So the point is not taking the documents. If you're taking documents, it has to be perfect set of documents. Right? If not, don't take it. If you can't take perfect documents, don't take it. What's the purpose of taking documents, incomplete documents? You can't do anything with that. Right? So this is the biggest challenge that I see in the market among the bankers. They take documents, the documents are incomplete. So as a result, sometimes they can win the case because there is an attitude in the banking sector. Judges think this is public money. Therefore, we have to give judgment in favor of the bank. Sometimes you will get the judgment, but you will not get the money because I don't have money for you to recover. So securities are important, but you should not depend on the securities what you take. Now, out of the securities, any particular security that you can say? Yes. Pamudi, can you tell me any particular security that you think which is good among the securities that is available in the market? Pamudi, can you chat and tell me? There are different securities. You have properties, you have stock, you have machinery, you have shares, you have personal guarantees. Out of the securities, what is the good security? Jan, Amelia, Guptika, what are the good securities that you take?
Cashback deposit. Again,
It's not a security. Cashback is not security because you are not
the,
taking any risk at all. You are taking my money, you are lending against my money. So that is not lending actually. You can't consider that as lending because you are taking my money and keeping that as security and you are giving me. There is no risk from a bank point of view. Vehicle or property. Okay. Some say vehicle or property. For me, there is no so-called good security in the market at all. We think that the property is good. We think vehicle is good. I will next session. I will show why I am saying that because there is no good security in the market. Simply, all the securities are having a lot of problems. So we think, okay, this is good. This is not good. So you need to understand your lending are depending on bad securities. Top of that, the documents what you take are also worst. 99% of the banking sector documents are not up to date or not in line with this, right? So don't lend against the security. You lend against the KYC of customer. Understand who is this person, and based on that you lend. Don't ever lend against the security of the customer because security tomorrow will be outdated. Security tomorrow will not be available. You have a set of documents, but when we go to courts, it will drag for 4 or 5 years. After you get the judgment, after 4 or 5 years, asset will not be there. So this is a huge challenge that is in the market, financial sector. You update the KYC and understand the customer. Based on the understanding of the customer, you better lend, not on the security what he is going to offer. Right. Any questions? Any questions? Now, availability of legally unenforceable document. Now you have documents, but in certain documents you have parties not identified properly. You have given to X and Y, but you have stated as Y and X. So then you have not identified the parties properly. Signature of the blank on blank document. Do you all take signatures on blank documents? Yes. Do you all take signatures on blank documents? Yes. Do you take signatures on blank document? What are your practices? Bankers? Yes. I'm waiting for your answer. Do you take signatures on blank documents, Buddhika? Amila? Yeah. Yes. Do you all take signatures? Yes, Amila?
No, actually, we are not taking.
You are not taking. Very good. Suranga also says no. Very good. Other banks? Others? Can also say no. Right. So if you are not taking bank signatures on blank document, that's very good. But majority of the banks are doing that. Now the argument is where we don't have time to complete. We have to give the quick service to the customer. Completing document and giving the service, it won't take much time, right? If you are focused onto the job that you are doing, getting the document completed is not a big issue. But that is not the concern. You are not organized. Now, if you are a customer, if you go to a bank, if that bank is offering you a blank document, will you sign that document? Will you sign that document? Yes. If you're a customer, you want to borrow from X bank, and that X bank is going to offer you a blank document. Will you sign that document? Yes.
No,
No, you will not
no.
sign because you don't know what these bankers are going to feel. Because bankers are having a lot of contracts with a lot of conditions. Even they also don't know what are the conditions. Right? So the point is where if you are not signing, it's not reasonable for you to offer that type of a document to your customers as well. So if you have a practice of not obtaining document signatures on blank document, that's fine. But majority of the banks, they have this bad practice. So if so, stop that immediately. Incomplete documents. Sometimes the dates are not filled. Sometimes the witnesses are not signed. Sometimes the signatures are not taken for corrections. Sometimes all the guarantors have not signed. Now, I will take an example. Now, you have given a 100 million facility. According to the guarantee bond, there are 4 guarantors. 100 million, 4 guarantors. Now, due to an oversight, you have taken the signatures of only 3 guarantors. A, B, C, D should be there, but you have taken only A, B, C. Now, what is the validity of your guarantee bond? Can you take action against A, B, C? Or can you take action against A, B, C, D? Yes? Anyone who knows the answer, please throw your ideas with your experience. What happens to the guarantee bond? You have gained 100 million against the personal guarantee of directors. There are 4 directors, A, B, C, D, but only A, B, and C has signed, D has not signed. Now the customer company has defaulted. Now you want to take action against them. What is your position over this guarantee bond? Yes, Suranga? Sanjeeva? Mohan? Kutika? Amila? Dan? What happens to your guarantee bond? Can you take action against ABCD or ABC? Or what can you do with this guarantee? Yes? At least a guess. You don't know the real answer. Yes, Gayan? Kutika? Can you use this guarantee for the facility? Can you take action against ABC or ABCD? You can't take action against any of the guarantors. The guarantee will be null and void. You have not taken all parties' liabilities, all parties' signatures to pass their liabilities. So normally a director's guarantee more than one, we say joint and several liability. What is joint and several is where joint means together, several means individual. If you have taken a guarantee of 100,000, joint means A and B jointly liable for 100,000, or A liable for 100,000 or B liable for 100,000. In case B can't pay or A can't pay. So joint means together guarantors are liable. Several means if A can't pay, B have to pay the 100,000. If B can't pay, A have to pay the 100,000. So this joint and several concept is not there where you have told you are going to get 4 party signature. The consent was not there. You have taken only 3. Because of your negligence, you can't pass the responsibility to ABC or neither ABCD. So your guarantee is not but you but you have 400. Now these are unenforceable. You can't enforce these documents. Right? Proper procedure is followed when it's there are set procedure that you follow for registration within market days you have to send. Sometimes you have failed to send within the stipulated time, then your document is not valid. Mortgage you have failed to register the registry. Some others have entered a contract, a transaction prior to your mortgage bond. That mortgage bond will get that transaction will get priority over your transaction, and you will not be able to get anything out of that. So these are some of the practical issues what we see in enforcing your documents. Any questions? Any questions? Yes. Any questions? So I will next session I will discuss detail on this documentation part. Now we show you what are the practical issues what we see in this documentation process and what are the wrong practices where the bankers are using. Selecting wrong procedure for recovery. Are there any recovery officers in this session? Anyone who is into recovery? I'm not asking questions, I just want to know. Anyone who is into recovery? Sanjeeva, are you from recovery? Mohan? Sanjeev and Mohan have taken serious decision not to talk at all. Is that the case? Yes. As bankers, you have to be a little bit. Now, this is what has happened in Sri Lankan context.
No, sir, sorry, my mic was on mute. I'm not from recoveries, I'm from trade.
Okay. Which bank?
Standard Chartered Bank.
Okay, good. Mohan? Mohan? Right. Now, when you come to Sri Lankans, now if I ask a question from an Indian forum, you'll assume that all of you are Indian. Even normally the Indians, if they don't know, even they don't know the answer, they will raise their hand. But Sri Lankans, they know the answer, but they don't want to raise their hands. Indians, though they don't know the answer, they want to show that they know. Sri Lankans, they know, but they don't want to show that they know. This is the difference between Indians and Sri Lankans. Our people are very backwards, and normally they don't want to participate in discussions, right? Okay, selecting wrong procedure for recovery. Now, when you come to recovery, there are certain procedures that you have to follow, right? But in most of the cases, sometimes the banks are not following the correct procedure. Now, as a result, there are a lot of issues and practical problems what we see. Now, normally, what is your experience that you have? Within how many months or years you can file an action and get the judgment? At least you must be, you have any relationship with the officers at the recovery department. Can you get the judgment within a month, 2 months, within a year? How many years it take to get the judgment for a court case? Yes. Any guesses at least? At least if you can guess. Yes. Anyone who is into Butika, any guesses? Any guesses? Kalhari, any guesses? Within how many years you can, how many months you can get the recovery back? You go to file action. At least a guess. No. Right. So it depends on the case, but it will take a long time. Minimum 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 or more than that. Now, when you come to the financial sector, the banking sector, there are a lot of opportunities for them where they can file action under the debt recovery provisions. 4 of 1990, right? There are provisions for the banks to go in a summary procedure, not on a normal money recovery action. What we file today is money recovery action. It will take time. It's a huge process. But if you select the correct procedure, that's a debt recovery procedure, you don't have to wait for this much of time. Why we can't follow the shortcut method? Our documentations are incomplete. That is the biggest issue. If your documents are completed, you can take debt recovery provision. But since your documentations are incomplete, you can't take this debt recovery provision. So this is the biggest issue what I see. We have the privilege, laws are there for the bankers to take shortcut methods. But unfortunately, banks are not using the shortcut method because their documents are incomplete. So the point is where sometimes you might think, okay, our documents are perfect. No, your documents are not perfect. Right? That is why you can't go behind the debt recovery provision. As a result, you will have to go for money recovery and drag for 4 or 5 years. If you file under debt recovery, within a year, you can settle your case with money. Right? So I will explain what steps that you have to do. And 100% banks are responsible for that. Bank officers are responsible for that. Not following the correct procedure. Not anyone else. Now, what is more important when you come to value of money, time value of money? Now, if you lend 100,000, if we'll say simple interest rate, if the simple interest rate is 10%, after 3 months, it will be 97,600. After 6 months, it will be 95,250, including inflation, everything. After 1 year, 9,100. 2 years, 8330. 3 years, 77,000. 4 years, 71,500. 5 years, 66,600. Sometimes you give me a loan, 100,000. They say 50%. Now I lost my job. I'm going to inform you, look here, I can't pay 10%. I can't pay 15%. Give me a concession on interest. Can you put down it for 8%? Now you keep on dragging, not giving me a decision to drop into 8%. You're fighting for 5%. And drag for 5 years. Now, immediately if you settle the matter in 3 months, you will get 97,600. Instead of that, you are dragging it for another 5 years where you want to take me to courts. At that time, the time value is 66,600. Now, what is good? 97,600 or 97,600 3 months time, or 66,600 in 5 years time. Yes, what is good? As a bank perspective. Yes, Amila? What is good? 66 in 5 years or 97 in 3 months? Kalhari, what is good? Yes, Gan?
97 in 3
Yes,
months.
97 in 3 months is good. Why you can return that to someone else? Right? Otherwise, what will Kalhari, you have on your mic. Right? So the point is that you will not be able to, you are dragging the case even after 6 years, 5 years, you are getting only 66,000. But if you get money within months, you can relent it to someone and earn higher profit. So bankers, they dragging decisions. They don't take quick action, and at least you, what is important for you to recover your credit capital. Instead of recovering the capital, you keep on trying to get the maximum. Unfortunately, you are not getting that maximum. And after 5 years, I may be bankrupt, you will not get a single cent. So the quick decisions, short-term decisions are important. Give quick benefits to me. I will settle 97,600 within 2 months or 3 months, which is beneficial for you. Going to courts is fine, but it will drag the case. Sometimes, how many times you have to go to courts? Your lawyer's fees, your transport fees, your officer's fee, it will double and triple. You have given 100,000, it will go for 300,000, 500,000 at the end of the 5 years. So what is the benefit that you are going to get? If I can't pay 97,000 immediately, even that I ask in 3 months, if you are going to drag that case, so how do you think that I will not be? So decisions are fine. Your decision. Always try to go for it. Cap a small percentage of interest. Any questions on that? Any questions? Right. Now, different options to recover debts: settlements, mediation board, money recovery actions, debt recovery actions, execution, mortgage bond actions, creditors buying up. Now, the best settlement to come to a settlement with the customer without before you go. Customer, you are going to any cost, you are not going to action against me. I'm also happy. I want to settle the loan as possible, and within both parties, I will have to lose little bit interest, but still it's good for you because you can lend to someone else. And no point of filing action. If you want to show that you have taken action, that's it, but you are not going to get in the sense of that person. If you have money, yes, maybe, but if you don't have money, no point of taking it to court. Right? Mediation board is where you, if the amount is less than 500,000, if I'm not then the amount, you have to, before you go to court, district court, you will have to refer to the mediation board and take the non-settlement and then go to the district court of Colombo. So once again, mediation board is not so effective method because sometimes the reputed person retired. In most of the cases, settlement will happen there. Money recovery is the normal we use. It will take normally more than 5 years. You are lucky to get the judgment within you can get the judgment within 3 times. Is the best way. So why I have highlighted this? Those are the most quickest and best way to get your money. That execution is used by the banks, where you don't have to go to court. If you're going to court and put up the resolution and the properties. Now, those who have experience or those who have heard, how many auction properties that you have with your bank? These days, the auctions are effective. Yes. Anyone who has any knowledge? Auctions, are they effective today? Yes, Buddhika? The banks auctions, are they effective? Almost all the banks of auctions are not effective. Who is going to buy today property? People, they don't have money to live, to buy their essentials. Who is going to buy unless you have a huge collection of money? There's no time for you to, there's no, you will not take any effort to buy today. So a lot of banks have a lot of properties which are unsold, and time to come, banks will have to form a subsidiary for properties. So it's going to be a huge challenge. Mortgage bond actions, once again, it's a long action. Sometimes it will drag more than 10 years. Right? Creditors winding up is another method. If the customer, if I'm not going to pay you, if I'm a company, you can take me to courts and take action to close down my business. So that's also possible in today's context. There are provisions in the Companies Act of 7 of 2007 for you to take action against my company to close down. So if you're going to close down my business, I will definitely come and pay your money because I don't want to do business because of a loan. So these are the level options for Africa to recover money, for recover. But out of these, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of these 7, my priorities are settlements and debt recovery actions. If you can move for these 2, I don't think that we'll be ended with action. Now just go back, when you go back to your office and check with your recovery people, how many are legal people, how many actions are pending in thousands, how many properties are not sold under debt recovery, right? How many settlements that they have done during this year. So a reschedulement is not a settlement, but you can come to better terms than previous, because today the market conditions are difficult for any person. You can have high interest rates, high rates, everything, but if the customer can't pay, what is the purpose, right? If you know very well that customer's business is not functioning well, what is the purpose of dictating high terms for him? So what is prudent banking is not that. You should be able to use your knowledge, common sense, and decide the interest rates. Now we all know that the regulators to bring the lending rates to 1 digits, and the deposit rates are coming down. Our margins will shrink definitely. The banks will not be able to get high profits than what we earned in the previous years. So from a business point of view, having one single digit business is good. Interest rates are good, but there has to be options. Now in Sri Lankan context, there are less options for the investors to invest their money with the bank, with the economy, right? So if you have a lot of options, then the situation is fine. Giving at a low rate, they will invest to the bank. High, right? The customers will be high. It will be definitely double the previous. What has happened? We have limited customers. We are charging high rates, and we get X profit. But if you are going to reduce your interest rate, as what the government wanted, more people will invest, more people will do business, their turnovers will be high, more customers will come, then your return will be high. So that should be the normal approach. Unfortunately, because of the COVID, today things are not happening. Right? Things are not happening. Now, you are participating from different banks. Now, what is your thinking about your bank in the Sri Lankan market? Is it the number 1? Is it the number 2? Is it the number 3? Yes. Are you all proud with the bank in the market behavior, this local market? Are you happy to say that you are number 1? Yes. Amila, Kayan, Sanjeeva, Suranga, Kalani, Pamudi, Mohan, Buddhika. Are you all happy with your position in the country? Do you all think your banks are big, giant banks? Yes. At least 1 or 2 answers. The local market. In Sri Lankan market, are you all the giant banks in the market? Financial institutions and company? Do you think? Amila?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Your answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Any others? You don't have to mention your name of the bank. Just give me an answer. Do you think that you're a giant bank? Kalani? Kalani, do you think that your bank is giant bank? Kalani is silent. Right. For me, all our banks are very small business. Now, if we add all our banks' profits, including state banks, I don't think total will exceed 100 billion. Right? If you take the private sector, I don't think private sector banks' profit will exceed 40 billion. So 40 billion is what today? It's nothing. 40 billion is nothing today. Now, recently Wells Fargo, they had to pay a penalty of 3 billion US dollars for wrong practice in the bank. 3 billion US dollars. Multiply that into 180 and see. 3 into 100 is how much? 540 billion one penalty. Right? 541 billion, 541 penalty. Billions. Our all private sector banks total profit 400 billion. Sorry, 40 billion. Compare this with 520 and 540 and 40. How many employees are working for this 40 billion? Definitely about 25,000. Whole year. So can we claim that we are a big bank? Have big banks? No, we can't claim. In 2008, not the year I can exactly remember, HSBC US, they paid 1.8 billion US dollars as a penalty. Just one penalty for money laundering. So see the size. Sri Lanka health sector, they have to budget annually 53 billion for the health sector improvements and health sector expenses. So all banks, my private sector banks, total profit versus the health sector cost for a year. Health sector cost is higher than the local banks, private banks profit. So understand, we are a small country, our banks are small. That is why the regulators or the government is trying to merge the banks and the financial sector. There was a clear tax comment to say leasing companies must merge with their parents. They will not stop at that point, right? Even the bank-to-bank mergers will come in trying to come. If I don't think that you all can remember, in 2014, they wanted to merge DFCC and NDB. Still, our banks are small. If Bank of Ceylon and People's Bank are going to merge each other, even our balance sheet is small. Even that is possible in today's context. Right? So be careful on that. When you come to sizes, they are very small, right? The few sizes, we are very small. And even those are possible. First, they might go to the financial sector mergers, and they might request the small bank to merge with big banks. They can make it mandatory. They can do it because what they want is the big balance sheets. Our balance sheets are small for them to get more money to the country. So that's an alarming point. Make sure that you will have that seat at your organization or at the new company, because majority of the bankers will lose their jobs in another 5 years time. One reason, a lot of platforms will come, non-human banks platforms will come, and as a result, a lot of banks will bankers will lose their business opportunities. So make sure that you have to understand that fact. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Right. Now, when you come to mediation, under the Mediation Board Act, recently there was an amendment. If I'm not mistaken, any non-settlement above 500,000, you have to refer to the mediation board and try to settle it. Fail to settle, then you have to get the non-settlement agreement, and along with that, Now, what is your view? Do we have a law to a country? Law, is it a must to a country? Law, is it a must to a country? Yes or no? Law, Pamudi, yes. Pamudi says yes. Kalhari, is it a yes to a country? Law?
Yes, yes,
You think?
it's needed.
Okay. Now, when you come to Sri Lanka, we don't have laws in Sri Lanka. Is that the reason when you switch on the TV news, you get murders, killing, accidents, drugs, weapons? Does that mean that we don't have laws in our country? Yes. Does that mean that we don't have laws in our country? So if we have laws, then what has happened? We have more than the required laws. Execution is the biggest problem. Who is executing it? Who is executing? Now, as individuals, do you violate the law of this country? From a personal perspective, as bankers' perspective. Personal perspective, do you violate the law of this country? Alhari?
No.
100% sure.
So far, not.
Okay, I will give you an example. Pamudi? Sometimes yes. Pamudi says sometimes yes. Now, Kalhari, do you always use the crossing to cross? You always use the crossing?
Most of the time. Most of the time.
Most mean does not mean all the time, no? Kalhari, your camera is on. Right? So if you're not following the what you call the crossing, that means you're not following the law. So the problem, we don't respect the law. Law is there. There is nothing to do with the law. Execution is the biggest issue. We are not following the law. We don't respect the law. Especially when a new law comes. What normally happens, people see how to evade the law, how to avoid the law, how to do what you want to do behind the law. So the law is there. Law is not the problem. But the biggest issue is where not following the not giving due recognition to the law. As bankers, do you all violate the law of the country for you to give the best customer service? Yes. Amila? 100% sure, family? 100%. Amila? Yes. Yes, Amila? Any idea? Pabudi says no. Now, if a customer comes to you, I don't know whether you all have operational knowledge. If a customer says a sole proprietor, he receives a check in the name of the sole proprietorship, and he will request you to deposit the check into his personal name, not to his business name. I'm a sole proprietor. I have XY enterprises. I'm XY, right? Instead of I deposit into my business account, deposit into my personal. Do you accept that? Do you accept that request? My business check, XY Enterprises. I'm the sole proprietor. I'm requesting you not to deposit to my business account. It's 100 million. Deposit in my personal account. As a bank, will you accept my request and collect it to my personal account? Somebody says yes, because it's a proprietorship. Proprietorship, I know the proprietor is the sole proprietor is above business. customer to deposit into his personal account, not to his business account? Yes, Mahmoodi? Why he's requesting why I'm requesting you to deposit into my personal account, not to my business account? Any reason? Yes, Mahmoodi? Any reason? Or anyone else? Why I am requesting you not to deposit into my business account, deposit into my personal account? Any particular reason? Tell me the reason.
Maybe to avoid taxes, sir.
100 million for personal use, I don't agree. If it is 10,000, yes. I agree with Sanjeeva's argument. It's to avoid taxes. Now, if you're going to encourage that to deposit my business check to my personal account because I'm the sole proprietor, with the reason I say to avoid taxes, that means you are also supporting me or violating the law, right? So avoiding taxes is a criminal offense. So you're helping me to avoid the taxes or evade the taxes. So bankers, they don't do it intentionally. Sometimes they do these things without knowledge, right? All the banks have the similar argument to say, no, they are the sole proprietor. When you come to liability, it's fine, but when you come to tax liabilities, you have to be careful. Inform customer, this is not personal transaction or tax. Business transaction or tax. If you are going to put that in personal category, and sometimes if the regulator thinks that they can't find whether this is business tax or personal tax, they might tax the entirety. So, on top of that, the banks will also have problems. If the tax department requests you to give a list of checks where you have deposit business checks into your personal customers' personal accounts, you are in trouble. So maybe that you have a process in your organization. At least try to, if you want to continue that process, where you collect sole proprietorship checks into business personal accounts, at least try to get an indemnity of the customer in case if there's a tax liability, he is responsible to pay. So my advice, you should not do. So law is there, problem not the law, the execution. Right. Any questions? I prefer if you can raise your questions because I know I'm discussing limited things, but your practical problems definitely will be having a lot of practical problems, but unfortunately I'm not facing your practical problems. So please raise your practical problems. We'll solve those things. I think that's more productive than I'm explaining my set of slides. Yes. Right. Steps in a legal action to recover debt, the amount owed. This must be properly calculated with the supporting documents. You have to prepare a position statement which clearly indicate how much I have to pay to you. So the capital and the interest should be separated. You can't add those two. If there's a loan, you have to include the capital amount and interest outside. So I have seen certain banks, they amalgamate these two and they prepare, which is wrong. But you should clearly state what the capital sum I have taken, what's the interest pending, right? So the letter of demand. What is a letter of demand? It is necessary to send the letter of demand through a lawyer claiming payment and informing that failing which litigation will commence. Now, what is the letter of demand? Why you have to send the letter of demand? Yes. Anyone experience? What is letter of demand? What do you mean by letter of demand? What's the whole idea of sending a letter of demand? Yes? You are demanding your money back from the customer. Now, yeah, so I have taken a note from you. So you just oh, 100,000, right? You accept my deposit or credited it. After that, whose money? Is it my money or your money? You're the teller, right? 300,000. You accept me and you issue me a slip. Accepted. With the validation or without the validation. Now, after you accept that money, whose money is that? Is it my money or your money? Common question. And is it my money or your money, Amila?
Jealous money.
Yes. Customer's money.
No. Tailor.
Bank's
After,
money.
yeah.
Bank's money. Okay. So Amila says it's bank's money. Any different answers? Pamudi? Is it my money or your money? You're the bank, I'm the customer. Amila says it's your money. Do we have the same argument or different arguments? Buddhika? Sanjeeva? Whose money? Kalhari says bank money. Sanjeeva? Yes. So it seems to be others are not sure. So those who told, yes, Sanjeeva?
Sir, I didn't get the question.
I'm going to deposit, I'm a customer of your bank.
Okay.
I'm going to deposit 100,000 with your bank. After
Yes.
you accept the deposit, is it my money or your money?
Still, it's the customer's money.
So your argument is customer's money, right? Those who told bank's money, the answer is right. And it's not customer's money. The reason why I say is that once you, if it is going to be my money, on the next day when I come to your bank, you have to get that money from wherever you kept and you have to pay me. And also, if you want to relend that money, you have to ask the question, is it okay? We have an offer for 10%. Is it okay for us to lend? Practically, you can't do that. So as soon as I deposit my money in your bank, it's going to be your money. You can do whatever you want, right? It's your money. Now, at the same time, I'm a customer who wants money. Excess deposit, we say Gayan has deposit 100,000. So as soon as it's deposited in the bank, it's your money, Sanjeeva. I want 100,000 from your bank. Now I'm a client. Now, since it's your money, you can give that money to me. Okay? So you took Gayan's money. No more it's going to be Gayan, it's your money. Now I'm requesting from you without asking from Gayan, you can give me that money, 100,000. When you have to demand that money from me. That is why you send a draft demanding your money back from me. Why you are demanding your money to pay back to that? So this is mechanism. Don't think it's my money, it's money. It's not Gayan's money. It's your money as soon as you accept it. So now when Gayan comes to the deposit counter, when the money is on the counter, if a rogue comes and takes money, it has not gone to the bank. It's Gayan's money and Gayan has to bear the loss. But if the teller has accepted and given the written note, whatever the note is, accepted yellow color slip, accepting your deposit, if that after that it's going to be bank money, if the rogue is going to take that money from the teller, bank will have to recover from the insurance or whatever the method. So the Guyana is safe at that point. So we have money before it is delivered to the teller. It's going to be the customer's money. Once the teller accepts it and give the accepted note, it's going to be the bank's money. Thereafter, the bank will, if something goes wrong, bank is responsible for that particular money. Any questions on that? Is it clear? Any different views or arguments? Any thoughts? Yes. Any questions? Right, good. So letter of demand is you send the letter of demand to the customer. You have taken this money on such a date. Up to now, we have failed to pay. We want that money within 21 working days. If not, we are action. So you are demanding your money, which you have taken from Gaia. If it is not going to be your money, you can't demand that money from me. If it is Gaia's money, Gaia to demand from me. So practically, you can't connect these things because I don't know Gaia. Gaia, you know because of his KYC. You know me because of my KYC. Right? That is why you come behind me, sending a letter of demand and trying to get the money from me. Gaia is not relevant for Gaia at all. When the Gaian wants money, he will demand that money from you. So we consider check as a demand document. Issuing a check by the customer is demanding the bank to pay money. I have given you money on demand. That's why we say this pay on demand. Is payable on demand. So I'm demanding, your Gaian is demanding his money. So at that time, you can't say, look here, you have given this money to so and so, he is not paying material for Gaian. You have to pay. If not, it's not good for your reputation. If tomorrow all our customers started withdrawing money from our banks, there will be a huge collapse in the country. No bank can accommodate all their depositors on a particular day, even on a particular year or even 5 years time. Right? You might be 5 years time because you have let your deposits for long-term housing loans also. Those will be covered in 20 years. So any bank will crash. So so-called super giants will crash if tomorrow all our customers start withdrawing money. The central bank intervened. Yes, you can control. Otherwise, you can have problems. Right. Time limits. The bank must ensure the debt is not prescribed. So there's a prescriptive ordinance in the country. When you're taking actions, you have to ensure that you take action at the time. If you don't action within the stipulated time, we will have problems. So we'll see what are the prescriptive time. If it is a loan, 6 years from the last date of payment. I have taken a loan in 2015, right? I have defaulted in 2017. You will have to take action against me. Not the day of the grant. You will have another 2 years. I have did in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Till 22, you can take action against me. But you have to have loan agreement. Checks, 6 years from the check return. Check is a payable on demand document. Date of return, 6 years, you can take action. Now, what is the validity period of a check? 6 years or 6 months? What is the validity period of a check? 6 years or 6 months?
6 months.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Different answers? Asini? What is the validity period of a check? Kalhari says 6 months. Yes. 6 months. within 6 months. Validity period of a check is 6 years, not 6 months. To present a check is 6 months. If not, it will become a stale check. So this stale check concept is there of meaning of, but this validity period comes from the law itself. Right? So validity period means from the date of default. You have 6 months to take action against the check. What we day to day what we use is 6 months is for presentment. Has nothing to do with the validity of the check. If you don't present that check once, it will be a stale check. But if you amend the date, you can present it will be a valid date. So don't think all stale checks are valid. If you amend the date, if you alter the date, still the check is valid. Right? We have included this in a practical sense because if you are going to do it and if you are presenting for a year, you will not be able to do your reconciliation. So that is why we say if you don't present within 6 months, with stale, you can't present it. But if you present it with an amendment, you will do. So you have to have a reconciliation. You can't drag this for so many years. That is why the 6 months rule is there. But have you seen in government checks, especially the checks issued by the central bank, myself, 30 days, 40 days, 60 days, where is the 6 months there? 6 months is not there. The practice says 6 months. If you want to get your money back, you have to present it within 6 months. There's nothing to do with the 6 years time. So validity of a check is 6 years. For the presentment, it's 6 months. If not, we consider that as a stale check. Okay. Any questions? Right. Mortgages 10 years from the last date of payment. So if you have a mortgage bond, you can hold the case for 10 years. Within 10 years, you have to take action. Permanent overdraft 6 years from the last date. Why permanent overdraft? You will have a even you will have a casual OD. You don't have agreement, but they have given 3 years. So the point is where sometimes you will create a casual overdraft without the customer's consent. Now you go through the check. You want to pay the check this meeting. Pay the check. It's a casual overdraft. But after that, subsequently, the customer will request for further facilities. You will keep on adding. All customer will vanish. Now the customer is no more there. You have given me OD limit, or without, sorry, you have not marked the OD. You have given OD facilities amounted to 1 million. So you take action against me for casual OD. Now I have seen in certain instances, yeah, where the customers sometimes they come to the courts and they inform to the courts, I never request this facility without then the bank has given me this facility. Now my advice is where don't leave that kind of a room for a customer. If you're going to leave room for a customer, right, to say that without his consent you have given a loan or a OD, not a loan, sorry, OD, you will have problems to prove that. So the best would be you can give me a casual OD with my request or without my request, but make sure that you get a covering approval, covering request letter from me to say that I have requested or I have no objections for the casual overdraft. Because I have seen in front of court some customers come and inform with my have to have this code and now I can't. If a customer is going to issue a check, it amounting to a request, legal request. There are instances sometimes the judges also will be misled and their behavior. So my request is that if you're going to give at least a casual OD without an agreement, without proper request, get the customer's covering approval or covering request on the covering approval, covering request, and keep that in your file. In one letter, you will be able to pull that will be for you to uh, uh, when you're taking action. Right. What is this answer? Pamudiyas was a why bank will hold such. Is it due to documentation? No, maybe that you're asking this prescriptive periods. Why the banks are holding? Banks can't hold this taking action. They have to now in banking. There are buckets, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, where you have to take action. I'm talking about even a personal transaction. If there's a transaction between you and me, which is based on a mortgage, a personal transaction, you have defaulted paying my mortgage, personal mortgage. I have 10 years. Within 10 years, I can take action against you. So when you come to banks, you can't drag these cases for so many years. This is the general prescriptive audience and the requirements. Banks will have within a year, within a short period, and the timelines are defined by the banking law. You can't drag it. And they will not do because it's not good for the bank as well. But this is the rules are there for general, not for the banking sector. But banks must ensure they take action within the stipulated period. Right. Basic points: whom to sue. Human being, business entity, or legal entity who is liable for paying the debt has to be clearly identified before suing. Now, in case of a partnership, XY enterprises, X and Y are the two partners. When you're taking legal action or when you're sending the letter of demand, do you send the letter of demand to the partnership name or to the partners? I have a partnership with my wife, XY Enterprises. I'm X, wife is Y. We have defaulted. You want to send me the letter of demand and the claim or the file action. You're taking action against XY Enterprises or X and Y partners. My partnership name is XY Enterprises. Against partners. How do you take action against XY Enterprises? Now, when you're issuing this offer letter, how do you address XY Enterprises, number 10, Gold Road, number 20? Yes. Pamudi, your answer is right, since it is not a partnership. It's not a legal person. Personal names. Yes. Under the partner's name. So you have to write. Now, if there are 20 partners, in that partnership, you are 20 partners. You have to prepare the offer letter. Are you going to mention all 20 partners' names? Yes. Tell Harry. Pamudi, are you going to write all 20 partners' names? Yes, you have to, right? You can't just write one or two times. But the shortcut method is where you can say partners XY Private Limited. So without stating all partners' name, you can say partners XY Private Limited. If not, the best would be indicating all partners' names. Why? Partnership name is not a legal person. Legal persons are the partners. So be careful when you are sending the letter of demand, when you're taking action against a partnership or a sole proprietor. You have to address to the person. If not, you will not be able to maintain the case. Right? Who has taken, who has borrowed? You have to identify the legal person and take action. Proper court, the action must be identified in a proper court in line with the contract and the nature of the transaction. You have signed the documents in Matala, but you have credited from Colombo. So then the question comes, is it Matala or is it Colombo? It's Matala, because you signed the contract only at Matala. With unibanking concept, some principles have changed, but you have to be careful when you're signing these documents. Okay. And also, another important point, dating of documents. Now, if you before that, if you are signing as a witness, normally you sign as witness. What is the final outcome of that? What do you mean by signing as a witness? Yes, what is signing as a witness? Sanjeeva, what do you mean by signing as a witness? Yes. Kalhari, what is meaning? What is the meaning? Yes, Sanjeeva?
You're also part of that
Yeah,
agreement.
in your presence that customers have signed. Yes, in your presence, you confirm that the witnesses have signed. You will be called not for the inquiry, you will call to give it evidence in the court flow. Now, as bankers, what normally you do? When I'm coming for a facility, do you request me to sit, manager to sit, two witnesses beside, and everyone is going to sign the documents? Is that the practice? Is that the practice? When you're giving a facility, they do this, all these witnesses are there in their presence, the customer signs? I don't think.
Sometimes no.
Sometimes no. So if from a practical sense, what you do, your credit officer will get the signature from the customer. And sometimes they might complete the witnessing on the same day itself, or before the auditors come, they complete the signature. Because otherwise the internal auditors will make a comment to say that witnesses are not completed. So you are in trouble. So the problem is where now, if the witness, if you have to give witnessing in the court of law, if the opposing judge, if the opposing lawyer asks you whether you were present on this particular date, and whereas you are absent, you have gone on a trip to Malaysia, then your witnessing will not be available. You will not be able to give witnessing. So if you are signing as a witness, my message, at least try to sign on the same day. And if you are signing, please ensure whether you were present on a particular date at office. If you get to a smart lawyer, right, he will ask the question, were you present on that particular day when the customer came? You can't remember. This case was documents 3 4 years back. So you remember. Then the lawyer is going to show proof. Then when you go through your leave records, if you find that you're on leave, long leave, you're on annual leave, to say that in front of you, you can't confirm that, right? So the point is where you have to be a little bit careful on that aspect. Now, especially I always change my bank staff as well as the training whenever I go for a training. After my retirement, I'm going to take all bank cases from the customer's point of view, because I know all the weaknesses inside the banks, and it will be easy for me to because this is a classic example that I have seen most of the when the witnessing is done at before the auditors come. So one more point, employees sign for original cited on documents. What do you mean by that? Can you explain, Pamela? What is cited? Yes.
It's like getting the NIC document of the customer, get a photocopy of that, and employees will be signing, like originally seen the document, put their signature and employee number. But in some cases, they just take the NIC copy without checking the original is available or not.
Yeah. And
Not
most of
only the NIC, most of the property documents.
yeah, the problem is where most of the time NIC you can't recognize whether you are there. Now, your NIC, which year it was issued? Is it very recently or still you have the O level NIC?
Very recent one, sir.
Very recent. What about the others? Can you all recognize you from your NIC? Majority of you all can't. Right? Now, the point is where you maybe that you will get the CDA, you will check the NIC, but most of the time NIC you can recognize, remember, it's totally different. But top of that, you will leave that particular day. That is my issue. Now, what are the identification documents in Sri Lanka? What are the valid identification documents in Sri Lanka under the Sri Lankan law? Kalhari, what are the valid identification documents? Yes.
NIC, driving license, NIC, passport,
Okay. NIC, it be a clear NIC, which you can see, right? Second one, passport, it has to be a valid passport, not just a outdated passport. Driving license is only for driving purposes. It's not an identification document. But one of 2018, the FIU directive says even you can accept a driving license. Until such time, it's not a valid document. So unfortunately, what happens? Bankers, they don't ask for the NIC, they will ask for the driving license. Now, if tomorrow all people or the simple argument where the NIC is not missing, or they have lost, they have not updated, or they have not, they have the driving license, but they don't have the NIC. So it's very pathetic. So because of that, now the bankers are requesting for the driving license, not for the NIC. But acceptable valid documents, if you go to courts, they will ask only for the NIC or a valid passport. You can't give. Yeah, so the simple argument in the driving license, you get the NIC number. How do you know whether the NIC number which is there in the driving license is correct? Do you all know that if in local context, if you want NIC, you can have a forged NIC for 5,000 rupees. You can get an MBBS certificate for 75,000. Degree certificate, you can get the banking qualification for 25,000. So, assuming that the driving license number is correct, sorry, NIC number is correct, which is there in the driving license, argue. So, you can't drive without driving license. That is why the driving license is issued, not for identification. So I know that all the banks, they ask for the driving license, which is not right. Right? So under the law, the correct identification documents are the NIC, a clear NIC. You can't go for a recent NIC, clear NIC, where you can see the reverse as well as the face, and you can identify the person, and a valid passport. But bankers with this one of 2008, there is a little bit legality for this driving license, because the FIU rule says even a driving license is acceptable, but make sure that you can identify the person. Most of the identities you can't. There was one particular bank, account was open. The NIC which was used was her mother's NIC. So she was around 30 years. Even when her mother was around 30 years, the same face cut. So the bank officers, without checking the year, they have opened the account for a 30-year lady, and they have used a 70-year-old lady's NIC number. They have checked the face, almost the face is the same. Because most of the cases, parents, mother, and the daughter looks like the same at the same age. Without using the common sense act, as this is issued in so many years back. So there were certain case where even FIU was also involved in that particular case. So we all have to be careful. Sometimes the face cut is the same, but when you go in detail, you will realize the NIC is issued in 60, 50 years back. So when you see a 30-year-old lady in front of you, you have to use the common sense to see, okay, how can she have a 50 years old NIC, right? So they have used this this account for money laundering transactions, and there was the issue on that. So be careful on that. These are simple things we miss. Any questions? There are a lot of wrong practices. Ranil, your mic is on. If you can off your mic, it will be helpful. Ranil. Right. There are a lot of wrong practices used by bankers, and because of that, falling deep. So be careful when you're doing standards. Right. Summary list of steps for money recovery. File legal action in courts, serve summons, file answer by the defendant, trial, judgment, decree, execution of decree, court auction, recover the debt and cost. So this is a normal recovery steps. These steps will take more than 4 to 5 years, or it can go up to 6 years as well. So step one, for an example, file the action and serve summons. In most of the cases, you can't serve the summons, customer is not there. Or customer is there, but he is not accepting the summons. So sometimes for the first step, you will drag 2 years. Then file the answer, the defendant can drag this case for another 2 years. Or another, we say 1 year. Because from one hearing to the next hearing, court dates are 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. So you have to wait for another 6 months for the next hearing. And trial will take 3-4 days. 3-4 days in the sense, when you come to years, it will come around 1 year or 1.5 years. Then the judgment, the 6 months. Execution of decree, another 3 months. Court auction, another 3 months. Recover, when you go for recoveries, after seizing the goods, you will realize there's nothing in that particular person. You will sometimes seize old furniture. Anil, your mic is on. Mic is Anil. Ranil is not in the classroom, but he is involved in some other activities. Fine. Okay. These are the common practical problems what we see on this online training. Someone else for me. Okay. Right. Wait till Ranil finishes his call. Right. Okay. Seems to be it's over. Right. Details steps to follow on money action. In section 40 of Civil Procedure Code, bank files plaint with all documents against the defendant, serve summons for defendant file answer to the. All the steps I have given, just go through the steps. I'm not going to go through each and every step. Now, what is ex parte decree? When the summons are served, after that, it's the responsibility of the. Now, when you come to a case, there are two parties, plaintiff and defendant. If you go to the diagram, you see the scale. There are plaintiff and defendant. Who is the plaintiff? Who is the plaintiff? Now, you are the bank, I'm the customer. I have taken 100,000 from your bank and I'm not going to pay. Now, who should go to courts and who, the person who is going to courts is the plaintiff or the defendant. I have taken a loan from your bank, I'm not paying. You want to recover that money. Who should go to the bank? Who should go to the courts? And what his or its bank title?
Bank should go to the courts.
Okay, what's your title as a bank?
Plaintiff.
Plaintiff. Yeah.
Plaintiff.
The who will win the case? Who will win the case? Now, your point is, I have borrowed, I have not paid. So your bank will go to the courts, you are the plaintiff. So you are filing action against me, I'm the defendant. Now, who will win the case, the plaintiff or the defendant?
So it's depend.
Yes, it depends. It depends on what? Depends on what, Kalhari? Yes, it depends on what?
Depend on evidence that bank is having,
Yes.
and
So
the customer might win if from his side, if he's having some genuine reasons.
no, reasons will have to come under evidence. So the judge will put this evidence into a scale, right? And that is why the scale is there. Any party who is having 51% will win. So it can be the plaintiff, it can be anyone who is having 51% evidence will win the case. So finally, you have to prove your points through evidence. I have to prove my points through evidence. Judge will put our evidence, your one as well as my evidence, into a scale. And if I have 51%, I will win. That's I'm the defendant. If you have 51%, will win. You're the plaintiff. So what is important from the bank's point of view, we should be able to collect more and more evidence to win the case. That is why I always say that you have to have a written request. Even for the casual OD, if you can have a written request from the customer, that is going to be an evidence. So wherever possible, try to gather written evidence from the customers. Those are useful for you to take me to courts and take action against me. So the scale indicates balance of probability. This is called balance of probability. 51% will win, though I have 49%, I'm losing. If I'm not happy with the judgment given by the district courts, I will go to the appeal courts and appeal. Then the appeal court will go in the same process. If I have 51% evidence, I will win, you will lose. Then since you are not happy with the judgment, you will go to higher court, Supreme Court. So at the Supreme Court, the same process will go. If I can prove 51%, I will win, you will lose. That's the end of the story. And so all these are civil cases. There's no criminal cases. We file only criminal. We don't file. Customers file criminal cases against checks. When the customer has issued a check to another customer, it gets bounced. The customer will go to courts for cheating. It's a criminal offense where you have to find give evidence in court of law with regard to the evidence on this check. Whether who has issued, who has paid, when has paid, whether it's got returned. So many other things at the criminal courts. It's a magistrate courts. Any question over that? Yes, bank bank can't go straight away to the Supreme Court. Is the last option. You can go to the appeal courts. After that, you have to then the next step. If you further fail, you can go to the Supreme Courts. There are 3 steps. Supreme Court is the last option. Okay, right. So this para ex decree means, ex parte decree means only one. You file the action, your summons are served to me. I'm not appearing, so you can request the courts to move ex parte. Ex parte means only your witness will lead the evidence. Based on the evidence, the judgment is delivered. So those shortcut, those not shortcut, it's a short period. Within 1 year, you can finish the case. But the point is, to get the recovery point, you have to once again issue me the writ, and execution will come and to say I was affected COVID in that period. Was inside all days. So it's like that. they reopen the case and they will allow me to file my answer. Then the case will drag for another so many years. Okay, any questions up to that point? Is it clear? So the special laws to recover debt by banks, 4 of 1990, title Recovery of Loans by Banks Special Act number 4 of 1990, purpose and act to provide for the recovery of loans granted by banks for the economic development of Sri Lanka. So the whole idea is, now if you go, yeah, if the lawyer is present without the defendant, that's fine. That appearance is marking. But the issue is where if the lawyer is also not appearing, or proxy is not given, then there is no representation from the customer, right? So if there is a representation from the defendant through a lawyer that amounted to a proxy, it's proper representation. Here I'm talking no representation at all. So then you can move for ex parte. Okay. So the 4 of 1990 was introduced to have a better economic system. Now if you see normal procedure, if you file action, it will take 4 to 5 years or more than that. But if you are following the 4 of 1990, your process is short. Within a year, you can recover everything. That's the economic development. You are taking, let's say, Rani's money, and you are lending it to me. I'm defaulting. Within a year, you can recover. You can give that money to Kalhari. So circulation will be there, because you are lending and recovery will be very short. But when you go from this money recovery action, recovery, it will take a lot of time and there is no economic development. So unfortunately, so to execute a parate, the amount should be over 1 KR for 5 million. Capital and interest, yes, you can't go beyond that. Below that you can't go. The amount outstanding, including interest, should be 5 million. So what happens in certain instances, customers reduce their capital amount less than 5 million, and where they default, and where you have to go from a mortgage bond action. So that's the risk that you take. Now there were different argument. 5 million. It's 5 million if I'm not mistaken. It's 5 million, not 3 million. It's 5 million. I will recheck once again. To my knowledge, it's 5 million. Because initially they said third party can't go, and then subsequently they say 5 million, not 3 million, the exact amount. Then they said total should be addition of capital and interest. So this can change further. I don't know. So from the bank point of view, the time, so right. Special Provision Act 2 of 1990 as amended by 9 of 1990, purpose to provide speedy procedure to recover of debt through courts. So if you are filing under this 2 of 1990, it's a speedy procedure, right? It won't take time. But since the banks are not following because their documentation are incomplete, it will drag for years. Procedure applies summary. That is earlier money recovery. This is summary. The facility must be granted on a instrument written agreement. There has to be a written agreement. Casual load is you can't follow this summary procedure. It has to be a mortgage bond, loan agreement, pro note, some kind of a document. Instrument, check, promissory note, anything. So you have to have an instrument. If you have an instrument only, you can file action under summary procedure. Section 2 continued, amount should not less than 150,000. Following documents should be filed, petition. Now earlier in a normal case, you file the plaint. Here it becomes a petition. Why? You have to submit an affidavit. Petition and affidavit. Affidavit to the effect that some claim is lawful due to the bank from the defendant. So you have to give a confirmation to the courts. What we are claiming from the claim is right, accurate. Affidavit shall be made by a principal officer of the bank and personal knowledge of the facts of the case, cause of action. So a normal officer can't sign. Your manager, a regional manager should sign, who knows about this report. For this 2 days, not the documents. It's a KYC. If you know your KYC well with against of your customer, you don't have to worry. Most of the time, why the customers are defaulting, you don't know their KYC. You think that this is okay for you to proceed, and as a result, you are facing a lot of problems. A copy of the decree 90 is a document we allow you to decree and for the rest of it, loan document, statement account. So one of the basic requirements, the document should be 100% perfect. Incomplete to incomplete documents, you can't in this summary procedure. That is why banks, they go for this money recovery action. Main recovery action, even in incomplete document, you can use it. Summary procedure, use summary unless conditions are complete. So you can back to your legal department. Are we using the money recovery procedure or summary procedure? Then you can ask why you are not using summary procedure. Then they will give you the correct answer. What I told is incomplete documents. So my point is where banks, they put a lot of efforts and get a set of documents which are not useful in when you come to recovery. Most of the time, banks, they obtain documents after the loan is granted. Until the loan is granted, the customer will come. After you grant the loan, the customer. If you don't complete all the documents prior to the grant loan, you will have problems. It's obvious incomplete. Sometimes you don't have the date. Sometimes you have to have the you call the witnesses. So all the entire documentation is incomplete. Sometimes you have initials all over the place. You have had the habit of getting initials all over the place, and what you call, you will take customers' initials, Pamudi? Just for discussion purpose, nothing your bank or anything. I'm not going to share anything. Just for discussion purpose. Yes.
Yes, sir. Only for some, only with the conditions. Some like with regard to the rate or with regard to special conditions, we take custom initials. So it evident that customer has gone through it and put his.
Okay. It makes sense because you have a clear argument to say that you have taken the signature to show that the customer has gone through that figure. So that's acceptable. But there are certain banks, they take initials everywhere. Even I saw one particular document where a bank has accepted initials, customer's request for a loan. I'm sending you a request. They have a format. That particular bank has a format. Even for the that particular bank, here the bank officer has obtained initials. So they are required in operation. All you want to emphasize that you have seen this point. And next. So in case of more the movers, you initial for interest rate amount, anything important. But in case of a loan agreement, if there is only a eraser or type overwritten, you can get the initial, not for any instances, unless you have to prove. This is just for to emphasize the fact, because the point is where once you place the initial, the bank officer can subsequently can change that. Now your point is okay, we are taking that initial for the interest rate. Now I'm going to come to your bank. Okay. Now you have typed as 10%. I'm pressing issue. Now I'm giving you an open warrant, even to amend it to 15%. Now, do you know have a habit, all the banks, of giving a copy of the agreement to a customer? Loan agreement. Habit, a copy of the loan agreement to your customer. Yes, bankers, financial officers from the finance companies. No. Why Kalhari no? Yes, Pamudi?
So we get the copy of the offer letter, but if a customer,
If you are giving offer letter, why you are giving a loan agreement as well?
Yeah. So the point is, so the offer letter is given. Fine. What about the loan agreement?
so in some cases, customers request that they need to go through the loan.
Okay. So do you give that? Yeah. Do you have that? Do you give that?
To go through, not the
No.
they
The
have
point.
signed.
Yes. Now, if I'm asking, I'm the customer, I'm going to come to your bank. You give me the offer letter. What is in the offer letter and what is in the loan agreement? So if you go to give, if you are giving loan offer letter, you the loan agreement, then if you have the offer letter, you want me, you're going to say it's identical offer the loan, but you want to give me a document loan agreement. My question, I'm going to take 100,000 from your bank, right? I'll be signing offer letter, loan agreement, plus a secret document. I'm asking from you, I want a copy of all the documents, copies of all the documents, which includes offer letter, loan agreement, and we say a mortgage over stocks. Now, are you going to give these three documents to me? Kalhari, Pamuti? Yes.
So not the loan agreement.
Okay.
If you request for the mortgage bond, we can consider. We can check with the legal department, and we can give a copy of that.
Okay. Okay. Not the loan agreement. Now, if I'm going to say, this is for my tax purposes, I want to produce this to the tax department, will your answer be different? I'm going to give you a written request. I want to submit this offer letter, loan agreement, and the mortgage bond to my tax department. Will your answer be different? It's the same.
So offer letter would be enough, I guess, if you're submitting for tax department.
No. Kalhari says all the conditions are there in the offer letter. No. You compare your loan agreement and offer letter. Those are two different documents. Offer letter says what are the conditions that you're going to put into my documents, securities, the repayment, what is the security, right? What is the amount, what is the but when you come to loan agreement, it talks about the recovery process. And you bind so many countries, you include so many things in there. So if it is the same document, why are you taking a loan agreement from me? So you can just forget about the loan. Loan agreement is agreement between two parties. Offer is where you confirm, I accept your offer. Loan agreement is based on the offer, I agree. But what is there in the loan agreements are two different documents. So my question is, if I'm going to say in writing that my tax department, tax officers are requesting this document, will you give me that document even getting clearance from the legal department? That's my question. Yes, Kalhari and Pamudi. Is the same stand? You're going to give only the offer letter and the mortgage bond only?
So if we want a letter to give for a tax department, we can give a separate letter, but not the loan agreement.
Saying that you're not issuing the copy of the loan agreement, right? If you have that procedure, but point is when you come to an agreement, it's an agreement between two parties, X and Y. Under the law, both parties must have a copy of what they signed. That's the law. But fortunately or unfortunately, the bank, they have their own theory says to say loan agreement is an document you are not giving against the law, right? So I have a right if I'm signing loan to have a copy of that. Right? So you can't just say because it's not an internal document. If a court is going to ask the copy of that, it's not internal document. I have a right to know what is there, and I have a right to keep a copy. That's the basic requirement of the agreement. So I should know what that I agree. So you follow media, but I'm trying to say these are the contradictory points what we see. Right? So if you you have to be a little bit careful. Customer has a right to ask for a copy of the agreement that he signed. You can't say it's an internal document, but don't change your procedure, internal procedure, or all of a sudden, if you're going to change internal procedure, you will have problems. And so this is the normal practice bankers they use, but I have a right to request for a copy. And normally what I have seen, sometimes the custom banks, they don't give even the mortgage copy. But when I say, okay, I want a copy of this, this is for tax purposes, the banks, they give the mortgage copy. Right. So, Pamudi, you have a good practice where you are going to inform the tax authority that you are not giving a copy of the loan agreement, but you can give the offer letter, it's entitled, and the mortgage bond. That's a fair decision because you want to hold the loan agreement. That's fine, but you have to be a little bit careful when you form the. I'm just giving you some thoughts not to deviate from your law. Right, your practice, you have a procedure inside the organization, follow that, don't deviate from that. Okay, good. Unfortunately, it's been a interactive session. It was a classroom session because there are a lot of practical things I have to share with you. Unfortunately, of this less interaction and the constraint behind the screen, I missed a lot of in the sense I can't put it into this kind of a forum. Sorry about that. There are a lot of practical issues that we could have discussed at the open level. Right. Any questions? So I will continue from here onwards at the next session, next class. And anything that you all want to ask from me? Yes. Anything else you want? Any clarifications? Yes. Clarifications required for that. So basically, we discussed the importance and we went back to some important principles, basic principles. Banker's role and banker, whether bank is business or a profession. We discussed it's a business, it's not a profession, but you have to be professionally, and we discussed the customer service is important. You should not sacrifice quality. You have to follow the law of the country, and we discussed the balance sheet of a bank. Moratorium loans of recovery. So there's a question from Pamdi to say, discussing about the moratorium, how inputs from you. So the point is more effectiveness. Now, government want to give benefit for the affected parties. No argument on that. So it's simply from a common sense point of view. If your business is not functioning, if my business is not functioning, I can't pay you. So there has to be some concession from me. So that's accepted. But how long you're going to give the banks are going to give moratorium question. they're going to continue with capital and interest, and so can be recently I heard there was a direction, there's an argument to say that banks should give interest free also during the moratorium period. They have not indicated whether it's for 2 months, 6 months, or 1 year. So the problem is where we can give moratorium to the customers, then what happens to the banks, banking sector? Collapse of the bank, amount to collapse of the banking sector. Collapse of the banking sector means it's going to affect the entire country. So it's a problem. When you come to recovery, okay, you will give a moratorium for 1 year. I'm in the hotel sector. What happens if I can't open the hotels 1 year? You can take me to courts. You can auction my property. Who is going to buy this auction property? There is no one to buy. Why? Because the hotel sector is not functioning. If this corona will continue for another 2 to 3 years, then hope that will not happen. So here, what I see, then not the legal side, is a practical aspect. If all of us get together and try to control this issue, I think we will get the benefit out of that. But if you are going to think, I'm going to be there, but I'm not bothered about you, and it's not my problem to say that you have to be careful, I don't think that we will be able to move from this. So this problem will continue for at least for the end of next year. We have to live with that. So when you come to recovery, it's a practical issue. What are you going to give? Are you going to give continuous capital moratorium to me? Or are you going to go for litigation against me and acquire the property? What is the purpose of taking my property? You can't resell it. Right? So it's a practical issue, Famudi. There is no theories. The government is extending the moratorium period. But from my business point of view, I'm stuck. I can't do anything. I have no option. No visitors, no tourists, no import weddings, no functions, nothing. So then how can I overcome my situation? Unless I am in a group of companies, this is just one part of business, I can somehow settle it. So it's a practical, nothing to do with this theories. Okay then. We discussed about the importance of customers confidential and the importance of KYC. Then we discussed about the bank customer relationship, lending, NPLs, how it's moving up and down, right? We discussed important 6 points for recovery, market economic conditions, the inadequacy of regulatory support, banks have failed in their responsibilities, incomplete secret documentation, which we will discuss next session. Selecting wrong procedure of bank, which is the latter part of this, I have halfway discussed. We'll discuss the 4 of 1990. Practical issues in securities will be covered at the next session. So these are the points that we discussed today. So we will continue and conclude next session. Any final questions? Okay, then be safe. Take things serious, because as bankers we have to be serious on this issue and help the others also to overcome this. Thank you.